3, 2, 1. Shilling.
Hey.
Fuck Leprechaun 2.
Hi, I'm Zander
don't-
of the
don't get-
Discord. I like 3 more than 2, just to clarify.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Anthony.
Yeah.
I'm Brian. I'm always here. I don't need to give an introduction, but hi.
Hi. Hello, I'm Silver. As you can see, Brian and Anthony have made the mistake of inviting furries onto their podcast again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Welcome to Campy
Hello.
Cast. We got a big episode today. There's 4 of us now. There's 4 of us.
Oh God. There
Yeah,
are multiple.
There's 4 of us.
there's 4 of us. Yeah, welcome back.
Actually,
Today we got a big one. This is our very first 2-parter because we're going to split this episode up into 2 parts because we're doing the very popular horror series, the Leprechaun movies.
Oh yeah, very popular, very popular.
Very popular, very iconic.
You
got your
millions of viewers.
You got
Definitely,
your
It's
iconic.
iconic enough to get 8 films
Exactly.
somehow.
It's iconic.
Bill-
Okay.
It was
The
the
billions who watched Live Aid they went and watched Leprechaun 2. Everyone wanted to watch Leprechaun 2.
It really was the peak of Jennifer Aniston's career, and we'll get more into that later. But yeah, before we jump into Leprechaun, the first 4, because we're splitting it up, we're doing the first 4 this episode, and the other 4 next episode, which I think is fitting because the next 4 is like a whole new era in the LCU. So like, the whole new stage, the hierarchy of the Leprechaun universe changed when we got Leprechaun in the Hood.
The thing is, the first 4 Leprechaun movies are all related in some way because they're all released within the same time span.
Yeah.
But also the fact is the way they were written were a lot more different because 1 through 4, they're they ham it up, but they're genuine. They're meant to be entertaining, just stupid entertainment, but they try because they even in their VHS era, they're you know what, let's go to Vegas, let's go to space, even though they do not have the budget for it in the first place. And then the Hood movies, the only reason they're not as fun for me as the other ones is that I still like them, but
Yeah,
when
but
I
I think we're
watch-
getting ahead of ourselves by a whole
Yeah,
week.
chill out.
So
they're just a lot more different in the way that they're more aware of what they are instead of the first 4 where they're just messing around the whole time. It's great.
yeah,
for
these
me.
are weird movies. But before we get to the Leprechaun, the first Leprechaun quadrilogy, because there's 2 franchises in this universe. But yeah, it's a very fascinating discussion, and we thought it was fitting that instead of just inviting another person, let's invite 2 of them, because these 2 Silver and Zander, have also been watching the Leprechaun movies, so I think it was fitting that we invite both of them and just double on everything. So there's 4 people
I think
today.
you both wanted to be on anyway.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think originally we were
It's
going to have one
literally-
of you,
yeah.
one
Yeah,
part
we've
or
had-
the other.
We've had this idea for a while. I've kind of teased it before in separate videos on this episodes, but let's just say recording for this episode was kind of all over the place. But we're finally doing it. The long-awaited Leprechaun collection review. But before we get to that, like I said, I guess let's talk about some recent movie news that I think was kind of interesting. That the Mario movie, which I think this should be the last time we probably mention the movie on this podcast. It's we mentioned the Mario movie quite a lot. Our last episode was entirely dedicated to it. But it might actually, it's probably going to become the highest grossing animated movie of all time. A highest grossing video game movie, which, I mean,
Isn't it
obviously.
already? Or
No, that was
close
obviously-
It's
to
getting
it,
close.
I
It's
think.
already reached $500 million at the box office. It's
Oh,
probably
God.
going to beat it soon. Definitely going to beat Sonic 2. Can't say I'm surprised by that, even though Sonic 2 is the far better
disappointing.
movie, if I'm being
Oh,
honest.
better.
Yeah. But, what do you guys think of that?
I expected that.
Same,
'Cause,
actually.
The thing is,
I knew it'd
it's
make a lot.
Illumination and also Mario. So I just assumed they'd make $1 billion anyway.
I don't know, Mario's such a general concept, and everyone knows him and everyone likes him. He has no personality. He's just the funny little Italian. So of course it'd make millions.
Yeah. It's gonna surpass $10 billion at the box office.
That's
So
true.
yeah.
I'm kind of indifferent to it. Movie kind of sucks, but at least it's better than the last few animated movies that were
It's
up there.
alright. I mean, it's alright.
Yeah, I'm indifferent. Yeah, I'm like indifferent towards the movie itself. We talked a lot about that in the last.
I think it's
episode.
better. I think it's better than Frozen 2. I'll give it that.
Well, yeah,
that isn't saying
low
much.
bar kind
I
of.
honestly kind of hope it beats The Lion King 2019, which I'm not sure if it's going to go that far, but like I would like
I don't think
it
it
to.
will, but like
I would like it
movie's
to.
made, like billions.
I would like it to, and it is the highest grossing animated movie because it's not live action, but we all know that story. We all know that.
Yeah, everybody's talked about it.
Yeah, exactly. Not even really worth mentioning, but I hope it somehow surpasses it because I'd rather it's better that than another crappy Disney remake. So
The Mario movie is better than a documentary, quote unquote.
It's just like a documentary. Yeah.
I'm like more fine with this grossing like hundreds of millions compared to every other Illumination thing. Because even though this is like fine and has nothing to it really, it's not like actively awful. Like practically all their like filmography. So I guess I'm fine with this doing that. Well, I don't know. I like it different. I kind of expected it anyways.
I know everyone says it's like their best movie since Despicable Me, but that really isn't saying much at all.
It is, yeah,
true,
but like
you're not wrong.
it's still
You're
not
not
anything that great. And,
Because everything about it feels empty to me sometimes, a lot of the time. And as someone who's like just not played that many Mario games, but also has played some, it does satisfy video game fans, but I don't think it satisfies the narrative at all. But like I could see myself rewatching it and being completely fine with it. I won't do it willingly. No.
Yeah,
but
because like I said in the last
it's
episode,
enjoyable enough.
there wasn't really anything besides some of the cool Easter eggs and whatnot that is compelling me to go through the whole thing over at another time. If I'm forced to, I'd be perfectly fine with that. But like, I don't know, just nothing I'm willingly gonna love to sit through again.
I like
all I want is just
I enjoyed it in the moment, but like we said, the movie doesn't have a lot of rewatch value.
It's still fun. I enjoyed it. Fun time. And anyways, go on.
I don't even think that it's like a guarantee for a Mario fan to enjoy it. I've played a lot of Mario, but I mean, I only like mildly enjoyed the movie, and that's probably because I had my friend with me. So.
Well, no, see, I like recognize most of the shit. I think they wanted you to recognize it. Even then, I was still indifferent to it because I was like,
the GameCube.
what about the narrative?
Yeah, like I said, I mentioned this, but they literally put the DK rap. That was epic.
Yeah,
that was
but
epic.
Then they also put "Take on Me" for some reason.
That was very inconsistent with stuff like that.
It's so clear that they just shoved in a couple songs just so that they could get like licensing agreements.
Anyways, I think we've talked enough about the Mario movie, but
we have.
Also, one thing I'd like to mention, because I forgot to mention this last episode, and I know this was announced like 2 weeks ago, but the FNAF movie finally has a release date. We've mentioned that on the podcast. We've even had an episode dedicated to the other supposed quote-unquote FNAF movies. But it's finally coming out this year, which is sooner than I thought.
Surprisingly enough, like that, it's coming out this year. Like I was expecting it to like get delayed.
It was announced. I was excited for this movie because you know what? I have to admit, I was kind of a FNAF fanboy when I was younger, despite me barely playing any of the games at the time. So like, I'm interested in watching this movie. I'm definitely seeing it in theaters, even though it's also set to release on Peacock.
I've been invested in this franchise since like 2015. I did give up on it a while ago, but I have fond memories of it. I have fond memories of the Bite of 87. I'm excited for this movie.
I'm
very excited. I have never played a FNAF game in my
I've just
life.
kind of been roping Brian into this FNAF discussion.
But I think it would, but I'll watch it anyway without seeing any of
I'm seeing an opening day. I'm definitely seeing it in theaters. Only the true fans are seeing it in theaters.
I'm going to watch that and Sauce X. That'll be fun.
Yeah, they're coming out on the same day.
Sauce X, ex-girlfriend,
I don't know if it'll be good because it's being made by Blumhouse. That kind of just has a very mixed opinion on it. Like the only movie I think they've made that I've actually really liked was Whiplash.
What do you mean? What
Again,
about
it's
Get
not a
Out?
horror movie.
Well, they just,
Wait,
like,
what about Get
produced it,
Out?
so that's
We
not
said
great.
our overrate us thinking Jordan Peele's a bit overrated when we talked
Yeah,
about Nope
yeah, no.
in our
I hate
2022
that.
video.
Yeah,
That
Jordan
video
Peele's
was
overrated.
long enough. Who knows? Maybe we'll make an entire video expressing our controversial opinions on Jordan Peele's director as a director's filmography.
Maybe someday.
But that's a story for another. But yeah, so yeah, I don't have much to say. They also leaked an image of the movie, which is like, kind of cool, pretty cool. There's a lot of speculation, predictions, because it's the FNAF movie. Of course, there's going to be a lot of speculation. Of course, Matt Pat's going to dissect every single frame of the trailer when it comes out.
That's true.
So
That's true.
yeah,
Very true.
I mean, you know what? I might do the same thing. I've been waiting for this movie for so long, so of course I'll do that as well. Who knows? Maybe I'll upload frame by frame analysis on this channel, even though it's for podcast episodes. But hey, that didn't stop us from uploading that stupid Mario shitpost thing that now has 9,000 views and is becoming our most popular video on this
Jeez
channel
Oh god,
for some
I don't know why you
inexplicable
made
that's
that.
reason.
scary.
I forget.
That's
I
scary
wanted to
because
see what would happen.
emotional.
I wanted to see like what would end up happening.
Alright.
Yeah.
It's like a
And it-
social experiment.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably other movie news we could mention, but like, I feel like certain stuff is probably like outdated, unless we want to do what we did with when we talked about Justin Roiland allegations and talk about Jonathan Majors allegations, but that's kind of a whole thing.
I don't know if I want
Well,
to talk about that.
okay, so all you need to know about Jonathan Majors is he was great in Creed 3, he was not good in Quantumania, and he's also a domestic abuser.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Question
Great.
is,
That's
will they fire him? That's the
Probably.
question.
They kind of have to, though.
Yeah,
He's
that's
like
kind
the
of
main
sad. It's going
villain.
to cause more disaster to this failure of a phase in the MCU. It's going to create more anarchy. It's
Okay, what
Let it
I think
burn.
is like really ironically funny about this entire situation is that Ant-Man 3, everyone hates it, but some people are like, well,
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors' performance was good. It's the only redeeming quality.
no,
and
it
they'll
was
give it like
fine.
a 2 or something. And now he's like an awful person.
No, the funny
He's
thing to
gonna be
me is that
defended.
every time before the allegations, everyone's like, "It's the year of Major's career." Wow,
And then he
it's
just had
great.
and then next week after, and then like a couple weeks after Creed 3 releases, it's just like, uh-oh.
Whoops.
You know,
Whoops.
it's
Like,
not the year-
It's like okay, it's like if Phase 5 walked into the door and as soon as they stepped in, they just fell into a pit of fire like immediately.
What a
You know, it's-
disaster.
What a
You know, it's
disaster!
kind of the year of Jonathan Majors. Everyone's talking about him.
For better and
Yeah.
for worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyways, I guess that's all the interesting news we could discuss. But anyways, let's get it started and let's talk about the Leprechaun, the very first, the one that started it all.
oh,
You guys ready?
all right.
Yeah.
Alright, let's do this. Okay, so Leprechaun is a horror movie about a leprechaun.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
All right.
You know, I never would have
shit.
guessed that, actually.
I didn't know.
I mean, if you look at like something like this, I highly doubt like the weird idea of let's make a killer leprechaun story when he's like this gremlin instead of a real leprechaun.
No, it's
I
creative.
swear,
I'll
I'm
give it
never
that.
See,
gonna look
okay.
at leprechauns the same way after I end up finishing all these movies.
Apparently, there's like a whole subgenre of like ridiculous horror
Oh.
films like this. Like,
Really? Yeah, no,
I'm
there
sure
is.
that there's one
There
that's it's about like I think it's called Rubber, and it's about a tire going around killing people.
Yeah, that's what you
What?
call B movies. Those are
I feel like
like
I've heard of this.
Oh,
They're very
wow.
nice.
You know what? Yeah, we gotta cover that sometime. Rubber. We gotta cover that one day on this podcast.
Oh, that sounds great.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get you guys back for it. Who knows?
That'd be great.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was a very interesting experience. And if you think this movie's insane, then you have no idea what the fuck you're ready for when you get to the fourth one.
No,
Basically, basically the escalation of this franchise is you start very normal, but then after like 2 movies, you're in Vegas, okay, and there's just a big ladder to just space now, and like okay,
Yeah, we're
Now we're,
the
like,
Jason
in
X comparisons later. So
yeah.
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 Anyways, as for this movie, like I stated before, this was literally one of the first movies Jennifer Aniston was in.
Okay, so let me tell you, I went through interviews, and Jennifer Aniston is very embarrassed by this movie, and the what a crazy thing. But as a matter of fact, Warwick Davis accused her of just ignoring the movie entirely, but then she apologized, saying, "Yeah, it was important to my career. I'm embarrassed by it, but it was
Yeah, it
important
was
to
the
my
peak of her
Okay.
career, and I
Well,
heard
that's
the acting for her in this movie.
She thought, according to her, back when she got hired, she thought this was her like big break, which was Leprechaun.
She's
because like
definitely a '90s girl. So
yeah, and she was like, "Oh my god, the guy from Willow is in it. It must be a good movie." So she just worked on it purely because of that.
Yeah.
I will say this is the best Leprechaun movie, acting included.
I feel like in a lot of these like weird ass, overly stretched out franchises of a stupid concept, usually the first one is like the best one.
And
Well,
Because
it's
like
funny
it's
'cause a
the
lot of the
highest
time-
budget one probably, right? Well, the other ones are just
Yeah.
like
No,
more.
two is the highest budget one.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Really?
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess
Probably
there
one of
is
the
more
more
CG
high-budget
in the
ones.
sequels,
Yeah.
so we'll
Which
get-
is weird because
Yeah.
I guess this one's one of the more small scale ones, and then the other
Because
ones got worse
okay, so
budgets.
Trimark, the studio that made it, they were a startup around this time. Because you see, Leprechaun was filmed in '91, but the weird thing is,
Okay.
it came out in '93, right? Everyone knows that, and so like it's a bit confusing because the reason why it took so long to film was not because it took long to film, it was just because it took long to release. And another thing about it was that it just went through just a ton of hectic production because it was originally going to be PG-13 actually
Oh.
Really?
because it was meant to target towards kids. Mark Jones
What?
stated,
What?
Mark Jones stated that this was meant for kids, or especially because the original concept, he was like in a bar, he was like looking at the TV and he saw a Lucky Charms commercial. He was like, "Hey, why haven't they made like a Leprechaun movie?"
That's a movie. That's what he thought. That's a movie. I gotta make that movie
I
right
want to be a
now.
Lucky Charms movie.
But basically, the lead up from these movies is like he saw a Lucky Charms commercial, made a script, and then he pitched it to Trimark, who was a startup company around that time, started filming it. And in the middle of that, it's like, "Hey, can you turn it R-rated for no reason?" And so they had to do reshoots. And a lot of the gore you see in the movie is completely reshoots. They were not intended to be in the movie at all. And that's why the main characters are so like goofy. Like Ozzy, he
Yeah.
feels like a kid's character.
He's just like this
But actually-
grown man who hangs out with this kid for some reason, which they never
Yeah.
explain, which I
Okay.
find kind of funny.
See, now that you've told me that, this movie makes much more sense to me now. Because for a horror movie, the tone is weirdly lighthearted sometimes.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
Very
like,
interesting tone in
like,
these movies.
yeah, Ozzy is not a horror film protagonist.
Yeah, the wheelchair hospital scene is really goofy because it's just sped up footage of Warwick Davis on a wheelchair chasing
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Very-
that scene
Very
that scene was fun. Also,
Yeah.
oh yeah, spoilers for all of these. So I wouldn't want you guys to be spoiled some of the batshit insane things that happen in these movies. So you have been warned. So yeah. This one is like more tamed compared to the other ones, but it is still has its fair share of like insanely bizarre moments, just down to the concept. Like
the entire beginning is just super weird to me. Just
it has a
everything.
weird tone. Like it doesn't feel like a horror movie until like like the whole opening is like this guy steals like leprechaun gold, and then like he traps him in this like cartage for years by like putting a 4-leaf clover.
And he has a heart attack right on the spot.
Yeah,
Like,
that is
no-
such a weird weakness because I get it. Like it's 4-leaf clover and like leprechauns, St. Patrick's Day, blah blah blah. But
Yeah,
like,
But why would it be his kryptonite though?
exactly.
Okay.
That was
Yeah, no, it
strange.
makes
Maybe that would work
sense,
for him, but no.
The thing for me is Mark Jones, when he wrote the script, he said he mixed in like real history, but also just thought, hey, let's just make a 4-leaf clover as his weakness. Why not? Like,
Yeah,
okay.
don't mix.
Mix.
That
And the
Clearly.
weaknesses for this guy get weirder and weirder as the movies go on. But you know what? We're just getting our head
A
of
lot,
ourselves.
okay. That's why this one feels like the most light because Mark Jones, furthermore, he also was like he originally wanted to be an animator, and so
Oh.
he worked at Filmation, the studio that made like a couple cartoons, and he was like a
Oh.
Xerox. He did like some line work, But then, as he was still working around the studio, he realized, and many of his coworkers realized, that he was better as a writer. He wasn't, but he was just a better writer than a drawer, so that can explain how bad his drawing skills were. But like, he clearly just didn't know exactly what he was doing at all. So he was just like, yeah. Because at the time he's worked on like stuff like the A-Team, and also he worked on Scooby-Doo like scripts for like the 60s show. So he was like, or like the 70s show or whatever it was. And he was like, I want to make a live action Scooby-Doo movie, but with like Leprechaun elements. That was basically his intentions, were to just make a live action Scooby-Doo movie.
And where's the dog?
Leprechaun.
The dog's the leprechaun.
Well, they couldn't make it. Well, I mean, I guess you could say the Leprechaun is Scooby-Doo. So.
Sure. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about let's talk about, there's some interesting scenes in this movie, like the iconic scene where the Leprechaun gets pulled over in the middle of the street while he's riding the Leprechaun mobile.
It's such a weird scene.
And then he just kills the police officer in the middle of the road.
Understand.
That scene is super weird. It makes
just it goes on for a long while because the cop just starts running away.
Yes, he
just appears in the forest and tries to kill him.
He doesn't even attempt to shoot the Leprechaun at all. He's just
it's so
running
weird.
away like a coward.
And the pogo stick death when the Leprechaun just bounces on this innocent man who's just trying to do his job, and then the implication.
The weird implication is that he could just teleport, like in all three of these movies. Four doesn't do it. Teleportation, I think. I forget, but these three movies, they always involve teleportation for no reason, even though it'd be so much more easier if the Leprechaun just teleported around, messed with them, and then just eventually killed them off one by one. But instead, he's just does it once, never again, at all. I don't get that.
I like that.
And then there's the officer scene, like you said, there's just police officer he thinks is a child, even though no child looks that demented,
talks like that, or it's so weird. It's there's so many scenes.
I'll go to bat for the movie for this for just a second. I mean, he could very well assume that it's some sort of mask.
I guess so, yeah. I think he pointed that out, but
true,
still,
but his voice is way too deep for
his voice is way too deep. That's the further thing. Even if you were to defend that, it's kind of stupid.
I also found something funny. So the main plot makes it look like that Jennifer Aniston was going to be the star of it, she was the main character, and she kind of is.
Not really.
She moves to this neighborhood that she hates or whatever, and then she decides to stay after talking with this other guy who lives there, who I forgot his name.
Honestly, I forget his name too.
He's a pretty forgettable character.
Let me check. I forget what his name even was. Hold on.
The only character I remember, their names, I remember Ozzy and Alex, the grown man who just has these weird fantasy things. There's a scene in the movie when he just calls the cops about the Leprechaun, and instead of just saying that something's attacking him, he just decides to say a leprechaun. Because and there's also the part that was just really funny to me was when
I wrote in my notes for Leprechaun 1. I said Nathan, give me my shoe, quote unquote, is the only reason I know the main lead's name. The adult boy or whatever his name is Nathan, I guess. Yeah, and then
he's okay. He's not as good as Ozzy.
Yeah, Ozzy
goes. Ozzy.
I like this. There's this scene where they end up finding the gold of the Leprechaun, and then the kid wants to use the Leprechaun to make Ozzy smarter because he thinks he's a dumbass without saying it. The kid's so mean. Wow, it's so unintentionally mean. It was so funny to me. I don't know why.
Wow. I feel that's kind of realistic, though.
And then the weirder thing is just Ozzy eats a coin,
and then this comes back later in the plot when the Leprechaun tries to kill him by literally trying to just bust his stomach open to get his last coin. Because I remember
I'm just wondering where that coin came from. Where did he find that?
Why can't he just wait for him to poop it out or something?
Ozzy's not that stupid, but I guess he just eats coins casually. Why not?
He said, I remember them.
He was tasting it, then he just messed up. I guess.
Maybe he thought it was one of those chocolate coins or something.
You can't just accidentally swallow. Okay.
So really, yeah.
What are you talking about? It happens all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I eat coins all the time. Yeah.
I find it.
Yeah.
Doesn't everyone?
I find it very humorous that uh the scene where they give the leprechaun back his gold, and then he gets pissed because he there was one coin that he missed, and then he just decides to continue his rampage again. Like that makes
No, that's
sense, but it's still like really funny to me.
Coin. It's like his constant thing. He's like,
Shilling.
he's shilling. He always needs the exact amount. This is like a constant thing in all of them. I know like each of them are different leprechauns, but a constant thing is that he wants all his pot of gold. He wants
them all. If you miss one single coin,
Every
he's gonna
single
kill
one.
you again. Every
Yeah.
single one of them. And if you miss a coin, then he's gonna get pissed at you and probably murder your whole family.
Yeah.
He's a ticking time bomb, and it's just funny. It's like he's just such a interesting character to put in a horror movie. Like I think the
Yeah.
one thing I unironically like about all these movies is probably Warwick Davis's performance.
Oh no, he is a
He
great.
carries this
He
franchise.
tries way
all
too
the time.
hard, but it works really well, and it's pretty
Like,
funny.
No,
these
he-
movies would not
he's fully
work as
committed
well
to
if he wasn't as like
Yeah,
campy and over the top as he is.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he sells the whole thing.
he sells it like super well.
He's the
Right.
thing I unironically like about it the most. And honestly, there isn't anything like downright terrible about this movie. Like,
Well,
there's nothing.
Well,
I mean, there's nothing I like despised about it or anything.
I mean, everything about it is just an enigma. The fact that it was based off a commercial, the fact that it was like a first like big release from a studio, and it was like a modest hit in like the empty months of January, and
Yeah.
just everything about it is completely just a fabrication. It's just everything about it's just completely phony. But it doesn't really matter to them because Mark Jones, he didn't direct anything at that point. He was only a writer, and so like when directing it, he just got a ton of help from everyone else. And generally, from what I've heard from plenty of interviews, it's just like it was a nice time just making the movie. It was not complicated at all. It wasn't really that different. Besides those reshoots, there wasn't really any production issues besides that. And well, Trimark already planned this out. They were like, yeah, let's make an R-rated movie, release in the theaters, and then like make a ton of money on VHS sales. Like a ton of money.
Did this movie do well financially?
It did. It made 8 million on like a 2 or 1 million budget, I'm pretty sure.
Wow, I guess it is really low budget.
It's
Can't
weird
say I'm
'cause
surprised.
I don't think of these like movies, especially the sequels, as being something that like actual like theater going audiences would like. Like the sequels that are like direct to VHS and DVD, I kind of get that. But this doesn't seem like a general audience thing, especially.
Oh
like,
no! This was like a sort of big hit in the box office because around this time, this was January. Because like most of the movies from that month of January '93 were from like December of '92, and so okay, let me put this. And so it was like number 6 in the box office of that week.
Oh,
And,
okay.
Yeah, it was released in like
Uh-huh.
only 620 theaters compared to like
Okay.
the other ones above, which were released in like thousands of theaters. And so it's quite an accomplishment that it even
Oh,
made that
that
much
is pretty impressive.
money. Yeah,
Huh.
crazy.
Actually, it
This
makes
film
sense.
did
'Cause
better than I
usually-
thought it would.
It actually
Yeah,
makes sense, kind of, because usually January is like a barren month for.
Yeah, but
releases
another
on
thing
VHS.
about it is
Yeah, I
that
have
like
no idea what these other films even are.
yeah, Trimark, they try to market this. They knew they were gonna be a hit in VHS, but they didn't expect it to be like a theatrical hit. And so like they planned like a Domino's commercial. Apparently,
What?
there was like plans of it, and they asked Domino's, and then Domino's was like, "This does not fit our brand. Why are you asking us to do this? This is a terrible idea." Okay, and it's like, okay,
Oh, didn't they want to do the same with Lucky Charms?
I'm pretty sure they because the thing is I think there's like a mock-up Lucky Charms in the movie, and there's like fake stories that like, oh, General Mills did not like their brand being associated with Leprechaun. But no, they knew the legal grounds, and that was like all a fabrication. They knew like they had to make it not Lucky Charms but also look like Lucky Charms. It
Yeah,
was
I
not
think it's like called Lucky Clovers or something
Yeah.
like that.
yeah, there's like fake just stories about like, oh, they originally put Lucky Charms in there when really no, they did not. They did not.
And then you know that they have the iconic line.
Oh yeah, fuck you, Lucky Charms. Great line. Mwah. Mwah,
Great
chef's
scene.
Yeah, I like
Chef's
the Yeah.
It is not the last time we'll see that line. I can tell you that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get other brand references, which I'll get to later, but yeah. I think this is like it's entertaining, I guess. It's fun to watch
It's
for
a
this
very it's a very hookable concept, and that's probably why it was a success. Because it's just like, oh, it's a Leprechaun horror movie. Why don't we go see that? There's other movies releasing this month. All right. It's like a very easy way to just market it. Very
there's
easy.
yeah, yeah. What do you guys think of the characters, the iconic
Um,
cast of the
I
Leprechaun
don't
movie?
think any of them are awful, but I don't really care about any of them, which is kind of a trend with all these movies, actually. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, I like threes
This-
and like one's characters, but that's
The-
it.
This does definitely feel like a 90s movie in terms of its characterization, because like the reason that what's her name even sticks around is because of Nathan acting
Yeah.
like she's too scared to stick around, and she's like, "Oh well, no, it's fine. We can stay
Yeah,
here."
I thought that
it's
was
all good."
stupid. Yeah, I was gonna mention that. I
She's
thought that was
convinced
weird.
She's
way
like-
too easily.
She's like a
It's so
city.
weird.
She's a city girl, and then she's like suddenly like,
Yeah,
all
after
right,
she
I'm
has
horny.
like one
I'm horny, let's go
conversation
for
with this random guy who just so happens to live near there, and
Yeah.
also like along with this guy, this grown man and this kid who just like also just live there. It's a very interesting relationship,
Yeah.
but that
You know,
is
this
never
is
really
not-
explained.
You know, this is not the only time that we'll have characters being convinced by characters they just met the same day.
Yeah.
This franchise.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Oh.
true. Like I feel like these characters like aren't filled with a friendship because this girl just met these people and she acts like that she's known them for a long
Yeah,
time.
Nathan and Jennifer Aniston, whatever her name was, they have no chemistry at all.
Yeah,
Don't
I
even-
mean, I immediately knew when they met that they were going to be in some kind of romance or something.
really, the only character I care
You kind
about
of forget about
Alex.
that like halfway
He's
through.
a
though.
douche.
Yeah, because you're so distracted by the leprechaun that you just
Yeah.
forget about what's
Yeah.
happening with the characters.
Yeah,
characters
It's the same with a
and I
lot of
will say
movies, to be honest.
these are
They have-
probably the best characters in the franchise.
Oh yeah, they are, which is kind of
because they're
sad.
just a whole lot of nothing. Because they're just a whole lot of nothing besides Ozzy.
They're
I like
tolerable. They're tolerable. There's
Like
nothing,
you can
not-
buy that these could be real people at least.
I don't know. I was kind of
I guess,
annoyed by the kid,
yeah.
but that's about it. It
Really,
wasn't like
that's-
anything that he wasn't
Kid
that
kind of a bitch,
annoying,
but that's
but
like realistic. So I don't
But-
know.
sure.
It's realistic enough.
This movie's not good.
Right. It's
Very little is accomplished for any of these characters. They don't really change that much naturally.
yeah, and it's just like yeah, and the whole thing is just from a conceptual standpoint just feels very off.
It's just such an enigma because it's like around like after the death of like the 80s slasher, after that it just sort of crumbled. And then it's like right before like Scream revival, where it's sort of ironic, but like it's aware it's like just meant to be an entertaining leprechaun movie, but at the same time it's like kind of scary sometimes. Well, at least it attempts to be, or at least it was forced to be because of the R-rated thing. But like,
I think the leprechaun is
Such
too
a
goofy
weird-
for me to actually be scared
yeah,
by
see,
any of it.
see,
No, I'm
Mark-
never
Mark-
once
yeah,
scared by
Mark-
these
yeah,
movies.
Mark Jones, he made a very good creative choice to think, yeah, he's ridiculous, just ham it up. But like the studio really wanted to be like a real horror movie, which no, don't even try that. That's like a terrible
like-
concept.
Leprechaun, my lad.
See, especially with the way he like talks and everything, I can't take that seriously. Like when I see him
Yeah.
like walking around them, I'm not scared of that. That just
Yeah.
Wait, I want to look at the dialogue.
It's just a very
I look like me lad. See that? The buckles on me shoes? Why am I leprechaun?
Yeah.
just the bizarre way he chooses to kill people just like holds me back from being any remotely scared by this guy.
Yeah, I
just-
don't think that they were really trying to be that scary when you
Yeah.
have somebody being killed by a pogo stick
Yeah,
on their
A
try-
chest.
fucking
okay,
pogo
According
stick.
to this, Trimark wanted a Friday the 13th-esque tone. That is
What?
not a great idea. That's not a good
yeah.
idea.
See, you can't get that with like Leprechaun. He's
Yeah,
not
but-
Jason. You
But
can't do that.
rightfully, Warwick Davis and Mark Jones, the director, they agreed. Yeah, no, this fits like a way more goofy tone. So that carries along throughout the whole franchise because of Warwick Davis, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that's how it works around that. And yeah,
Yeah.
then let me see.
I think
Yeah, I
this is
really got much to say about
yeah, I
this
think this is the one I have the least to say about it because it's like the
Yeah.
least terrible.
Yeah, it's like watchably
It's
bad
watchable.
Also,
for
last-
anyone really.
it's not really that notable, but
Like-
the last little thing I noticed during the credits is that that George Lucas received a special thanks.
Oh.
Oh.
Because-
Oh, and that makes sense because of Warwick Davis.
Yeah, because of Warwick
Right.
Davis because Warwick Davis was contracted to George Lucas, but then Lucas gave permission to Davis to appear in the movie, so that's
Oh.
nice, I guess.
Oh,
So you
good on
could
him.
say George Lucas influenced the Leprechaun franchise.
Yeah,
Very
good
nice.
for George. Better than what he did with Howard the Duck.
Yeah. See, this is
Wow.
this is even more reasons to give him back Star Wars, please.
Exactly.
Yeah, give him back Star Wars. He can make his director's cut.
Yeah. Anyways,
No, don't.
does anyone have anything else to say?
No, I just
The
find it
last
funny
quick
that
thing-
one of the actors, when you look at their credits, they have Titanic at the top, and then right below is Leprechaun.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I also like the scene when he just like. Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Also, the way they kill him near the end, when they just when they just like blow him up under a wishing well, and it's like,
Oh, that scene. They don't even explain that's a weakness. They just blow him up.
they just
They could have done that any
blow-
other time.
The
Could've done
visual of the kid using the slingshot to get the clover in him, that's a funny visual to me.
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah,
Like
like-
when he like starts to climb out of the well, he's
And
all
he's somehow like
disgusting and mauled.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
yeah, that was definitely something added by like
everything.
the producers. But like, yeah, and then he just shoots him, and it's like, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms," and that it's like it tries to replicate like the whole like Child's Play thing. It's like, "Oh, you're not my friend." It's like, no, you're
Yeah.
not there yet. You're not there yet.
No.
But
Oh,
like, it's charming. I don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say that this is like the most accessible of these films. Like you can watch this without being into the super weird stuff that happens later, and you'll be just
It's
fine.
like the most weird, I guess, is that the Leprechaun is just a goofy
It's-
character, and he rides on like a tricycle and stuff. There's stuff like
It's-
that, but
It's the least absurd of them all.
yeah, which kind of says something since this movie does get stupid already.
Yep, I guess that's
Yeah.
safe to say that this is the best and most rewatchable Leprechaun. I mean,
Oh yeah. No, I could rewatch this every year with
Yeah.
Glee.
yeah, sure. I wouldn't even mind sitting through it again because it's at least entertaining, even though it's.
Yeah, no, like, don't say any of these movies are boring. Well, except for Origins, but like,
yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
we'll get to that. We'll get-
Another day.
All these are fun movies. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's all you have to say.
Yeah, they're fun. I'm giving this. Guess we'll get to ratings. I'll give it a.
Well, I have
4.
one more quick
Oh,
note, and then we
okay.
can move on to two. So just the one that this is kind of apparent with all of these movies, but like I find it funny how like other horror protagonists they only kill at like night occasionally, but the Leprechaun would just casually walk around. And he's
Yeah.
behind like a car. There's the scene where he
He doesn't
bites the
care
one
about
person,
hiding his
and then
identity. He just
somehow
walks
they
around.
don't notice that. They assume it's the dog.
And then I guess everyone in
Somehow.
public
They
just
so-
assumes he's like some kid wearing a mask.
Wait, no, the
Yeah.
weird
He
thing is
just does not care.
they assume that this really bloody bite is just from a dog. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, dogs
You know, the
can be pretty
Leprechaun has
vile.
no shame. I'll give him that.
Yeah, it gets
Yeah.
worse in the sequel, but
Oh god.
yeah. Yeah, all right, I'm giving this a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think we all pretty much agree for.
Well, I say 53. I say.
Oh, so I guess Gender's a bit
Oh,
generous
wow.
here.
I'm a very generous person towards this
Yeah,
movie.
look at that. You're all the way up to
Interesting.
mid. That's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That means, according to Letterboxd, it's better than the Mario movie.
Well, yeah,
Wow.
it is. It is.
Wow.
I must say.
You
Eh.
could make an argument for it being better.
He has way more character stuff. You could say at least they attempt a romance more than just like, oh yeah, Peach talks to Mario once about how they're both humans. Wow.
That's
Wow.
it. Wow, how deep. Yeah.
Ozzy is better than Jack Black as Bowser. That's my last.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, I guess that's it. We all gave our range, so let's move on to Leprechaun 2. So,
Yeah. Okay.
sequel, the iconic sequel.
Yeah, before we get into it, this was the last theatrical Leprechaun movie before they went to VHS
Oh,
because the budget was $2 million, which is
Ooh.
double the original budget. and it grossed 2 million, so it barely scraped. And so
Yeah.
due to
Well,
the
if you factor marketing into that, it was probably
Yeah.
fine, but-
yeah, and then due to that, after this, they basically have been stuck in VHS and like TV re-airing limbo for now, like
Well,
forever.
I do want to elaborate a little bit on that because it turns out Origins did go to theaters.
Yes, it
Really?
did.
Like a few of them.
Yeah. Oh, I think I talked about this earlier last night because Origins did get a theatrical release for a limited time. Probably, I remember this.
Man, imagine going to the theater for that movie. Oof.
Ooh. I haven't even seen it yet, but does not seem to be good.
No.
So yeah, this one has a very weird and terrible plot.
Okay. Can we explain the whole pedophilia now?
Okay, I'll explain it. So basically, the Leprechaun is like this guy's like a slave to him, which they don't explain how this happened, but I guess they just tried to steal his gold. So, which is like, oh yeah, this is a different Leprechaun. This,
By the way,
I don't know if this takes place.
All the movies have different leprechauns except for Returns. As
Yeah,
I've heard.
and they all look like Warwick Davis for some reason.
Yeah.
But they're different, okay? Because
They're
if they were
different.
just,
Okay, they have different
okay.
powers.
Yeah,
they have different powers.
Yeah, but this one is much more hornier than the last one. So, anyways, for some
They
inexplicable,
keep that up throughout all these sequels.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
do
very
you-
weird sexual energy in this one specifically, which is
Which is kind of weird since the last one was going to be like a kids movie or something.
Mhm.
So,
So,
already
like,
we
they
can
didn't
see the
think,
different
oh, okay, this
direction.
isn't a kids movie. Might as well go all out with the.
Yeah, because this director, I think I remember this. He's just like he just wanted to go all out for no reason.
It
So
was pretty concerning, to be honest. Kind of interesting
Yeah.
to compare this.
yeah, but another thing about the director is also he's a Harvard student, and
Oh.
also he's an uncle to the actor Timothy Chalamet on his mother's side for some reason.
Oh.
my.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
okay.
weird.
Yeah.
I
I
know.
wonder
Random
what he
facts,
thinks
I
of this
know.
movie, Timothy Chalamet.
But yeah,
Yeah,
to
what do you-
elaborate, to those who are not in the know, yeah, the Leprechaun is basically a pedophile in this movie.
Yeah,
Because
he
he's like
basically
3,000 or something years old in the beginning, and he's trying to get with someone
Young,
yeah.
16.
I mean,
And then
to be fair,
It
Shazam
doesn't
2
work
does
out that
as
first
well.
time. But so what he does is like, I'll just follow your genealogy for another like 3,000 years.
Why does he do that?
No, but
Why
another
does
thing
he
is,
choose to do that instead of just taking the girl now? If you really want, like he said near the end that he was waiting 2,000, just what, thousands of years just to get some action. It's like, he didn't have to. If he really wanted to, he didn't have to. I mean,
no, you could have gone like a select number of years to find the perfect hot babe.
I have
You
no
could've done
idea why the
anything
hell
else.
he chose to do this curse on this guy.
I don't know.
Just
It's
kill
also
him
just
and take
weird
his
to me.
daughter.
It's also just weird to me. Like with a leprechaun, I wouldn't associate him like wanting a wife or slaves. Like
Yeah, but why
what you're
did
saying
he-
that's
that
not the
seems so
first
out of
thing
left
you
field.
think of
Problem
when
for
you
me
think
is
of
just-
leprechauns?
Well,
Why
because
does
all
he-
leprechaun,
why does he
you
need
think
a
you
wife?
just care about his gold, and he
Yeah,
can't
no,
have
that's a bit
his-
inconsistent towards his characterization because all he wants is greed. He's a greedy
Yeah, but
man.
in this movie, for some reason, all he wants is he just wants to be loved.
But you know, you can argue that's just like, oh, he's a different leprchaun, so he has a different personality.
Well, that's true, but
Yeah, but then it's like, what is the appeal of him being leprechaun then?
Who's
Yeah.
like the
Exactly.
standout, not in character leprechaun?
Yeah, like I know, and I guess it makes sort of logical sense in the universe, but it doesn't like align with the rest. Like the last movie, it just doesn't make much sense. And you know,
Yeah.
if you want like the perfect hot babe, why'd you have to go for like a 16-year-old man? Like
the
you could've
curse
gone-
that he puts
could've
on
gone
is
for anyone
so
else.
funny and how like dumb it is, but also makes no sense in the context of the movie.
So
So,
why
like-
is specifically 3,000 years? Why do you have to wait that long?
I
to
don't
do-
know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he
why
just
does he choose
lays
to-
out these very specific rules for how it works.
He
and it's
didn't
just
have to
okay,
do
I
that.
guess. I
He
guess
Yeah,
that's how
chooses
it
to do
is.
this.
There's no specific reasoning. It's just like, yeah, I'll just wait 3,000 years, and if it's a 16-year-old, I don't care. I'm marrying
This
it.
is like
Yeah,
when I
but-
was watching Knock at the Cabin, where they have these very specific rules for how it works, and it's so bizarre.
It was the last movie I thought you would compare to this one.
I would say
Comparison-
Knock at the Cabin is
Times.
debatably as stupid as this, if not worse.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because oh my god, this movie is just so weird from a plot, and then just the movie actually happens, like beyond just that opening scene, which is already bizarre, and it's not even like, it's just not. It just feels off. Everything
Yeah.
about it feels
Like
off.
the main character is this like con artist that scams people with
Yeah,
fake
like,
city
the whole
tours.
vibe. Yeah, the vibe here is like a gritty like LA. I don't get
Yeah.
that, but like I guess it's like a change up a setting from the
Oh.
opposite of like the original countryside thing with the first one. But like they don't really do much with that in the first place. And
Yeah.
another thing about it is just these characters are really annoying half
Oh
the
yeah, they're
time.
pretty unlikable. The main character like literally
Yeah.
just scams people for tours. Same
Yeah,
with
but
like
I will.
and then as the movie goes on, it gets better, but also gets really gross. Because at first it's just like, oh yeah, this girl just gets kidnapped by the fucking leprechaun, and the boy can't stop the leprechaun because he can just teleport, even though the leprechaun only uses that selectively for no reason.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
and he has like a cave dungeon, and you can tell like they put a lot of money into that cave set for no reason other than like it looks cool.
yeah, there's some
And so-
more
Yeah, I realized
CG
the
in this
cave-
one, and it's
Yeah.
not great, but the last of this movie's issues.
Yeah, I realized when I rewatched it, the cave, the stairway at the entrance to it, reminds me of the stairway in the beginning of the first movie.
Oh,
Oh.
kinda.
It- I don't know if it's the same one. That just happened to me, and you know, I will compliment this movie for one thing, that it gets a little bit better than 1 and 3, and that's the main girl and guy actually know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of
That's
just
true.
meeting each other that
I mean,
day.
even then, you can't tell the acting chemistry at all is there.
No,
Yeah, they have
they're-
relationship
they're very
issues.
bad.
What? Oh, yeah, the acting is awful. I mean, I tolerated the acting in the first movie. Like, it wasn't great or anything, but I tolerated most of it. But this is just, like, very awkward and very dumb. Like, I remember there's this
Yeah.
one scene that stood out to me when the leprechaun is just on the street, like, I guess counting his gold, and then this, like, agent, this Hollywood agent, just gives him his card, and then he just decides to just pick his finger off, and the guy just has the weirdest, like, over exaggerated reaction to get his finger off.
And no
Like,
one else. But no one
Nobody else listens to
No
this.
one else. No one
No
else
one
gives
else
a single
listens
shit.
to it. No one
No
cares
one
that
else-
this leprechaun is roaming the streets. No
No.
one sees him. It's just like he's just allowed to like just sit here, and no one like pays
Instead,
notice
instead
him.
of instead of like a sneaky gremlin in the first, he's just an out in the open, just asshole all
He's
the
just
time.
an
Finger
He's-
looking good.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, he made the KFC joke. That's why I referenced that earlier. He made a KFC joke. Like first the Lucky Charms,
So
now KFC.
And then
So,
there's like,
yeah.
oh my god. And then there's like the club scene where he's just like playing cards with everyone, and no one cares, and they all just think, oh, he's just in a costume. Let's all like
Yeah,
play
like
with
the
him.
Leprechaun club scene when he goes to like this club.
And then
on St.
meanwhile,
Patrick's
the main characters they just don't use this like distraction to do anything else. They just
No.
like stand there and watch them.
Yeah.
Like,
Also,
they don't do
apparently,
anything.
leprechauns can get drunk because there's a scene where two of the characters get the leprechaun absolutely
yes.
wasted. Just absolutely wasted somehow. So I guess apparently leprechauns can get drunk.
It just,
You
it
can't
just has
outdrink me. I'm a leprechaun.
It just has a lot of questionable powers. I want to talk about the teleportation stuff because he could just teleport just his pot of gold into the stomach. So that
Oh,
further
yeah.
asks.
No,
And
wait,
that's-
we have to set up the scene for this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
like-
basically in that scene, the character of Morty, who is like, I
Morty.
think he's kind of like the father figure type
He's like
guy
the guardian.
of the main
He's like the
character.
guardian.
Yeah, kind of. So they kind of
Kind
imply
of.
that. He's like greedy and tries to capture the leprechaun in like this metal cage because apparently in this movie, the leprechaun has like a different weakness. And it's like his
Yeah.
main weakness is that like it's like some metal. I forgot
Just
his
metal.
exact thing. Yeah, so
Yeah, it's metal, and they trap him in a safe. They figure this out by like a book or something. I
yeah, and
forget.
then Morty locks the guy and the kid in the closet, and then he like tries to give him wishes, and then he wants to be rich. So the leprechaun somehow makes coins, like puts a pot of gold in his stomach as his stomach slowly starts to explode with coins, and it's like, what?
Morty, Morty, you gotta put this cauldron all the
Oh,
way up
that's
your
that's the funniest.
Morty,
scene
I need you to
in
put
the
this.
movie.
Morty, I
That's
need you to
one
put
part.
this pot of gold all the way up your ass, Morty.
And it's just so weird to me that like the implication there is like you could just teleport his pot of gold. Then why not just teleport that one coin that you really wanted badly? Why not just do that? Well,
Bro
my
just
favorite
wants his
Question,
coin.
actually.
He wants his
I mean-
coin. He just wants his coin, and he just wants to be loved.
You could make an argument for
you can make an
him
argument that,
wanting to
like-
just like mess around with these people, but at the same
Yeah.
time,
At
he
the same time,
like
it takes way too long.
He has like a desire to get this over with.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
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 I know
Yeah.
you can make a lot of cases that's like, oh, he just likes messing with people, but sometimes like, do you really?
They
need to
kind
do
of
that?
push it in this one a little
Yeah.
bit. Like the leprechaun in this, and kind of the ones after this too. He's like basically a god. He can like he has like telekinesis kind of.
Telekinesis. Yeah.
He
Okay.
can
I want to
curse
talk
people
about
to
one
be
scene.
his slave.
This one scene is the most confusing thing to me. So, this boyfriend breaks up with the girl, right?
Fan scene that
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
come
okay,
on.
so he walks. He like almost gets ready to exit, but then his apparent girlfriend's voice tells him to come back into the garage, even though that makes no sense. Like you have no common sense. You're like, oh yeah, my girlfriend's down in the garage for no reason, and she suddenly loves me again, even though she told me she never wants to see me again. And so she walks in.
Oh,
And he, like-
he's just that horny. Okay, it's just
Yeah.
how it is.
It's that horny, and he just like crawls into the fan, and
Yeah.
the implication is that just the leprechaun just can puppet things and make things look not what they seem.
Yeah, that was a
And-
really interesting scene, and that just like
And
what
you
a
could have
movie.
used that in any other place, but only this one time over a horny boy.
He just
Like, okay.
chooses to kill people in the weirdest way possible.
It's fine if it's. I get he's like a show me. He's like way too elaborate on everything. That's like his character. Well,
Yeah.
so
He
could've used
overplans
it.
things.
you could have used it in other places too, and it would have made the movie more interesting.
Yeah, you probably
Mm.
could have done it with the boyfriend too, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
I
could have
think
done that.
this bit where he like gets his face shredded in the fan. I'm pretty sure they cut away because there's no way they had the budget.
That's so
No,
old that
they did
you
not.
are.
They did not. They did not have the budget. They had like $2 million, and probably half of it was just spent in LA.
Why did he even kill him in the first place? Like, he didn't have his coin. I guess he just
That-
does it for
Because
Because
fun.
he just likes it. He just likes
He,
it for
he
fun.
likes killing people, that's all. It makes him happy.
He has no regard for he
Human
has
life.
no regard for the value of a life. All right.
Yeah, except his girlfriend, who he likes to protect, because he brings her to his sex cave.
His sex
I'm gonna call it
dungeon.
that. His dungeon, and
His sex
he locks her in there, and she tries to escape. And then like there's the scene when she attempts to knock him out, and I just thought that was so funny because like how cartoonish that was. Like she tries to seduce him, and that was the scene that gave me, again, that was the scene that I was all like, this reminds me of Howard the Duck.
Oh yeah, it kind of is like that. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it both involves a wacky cartoon character being seduced by a grown woman. That's
Yeah,
a really
apparently,
weird
yeah.
thing to think about.
Yeah, but this movie originally could have been a completely different thing. Cause so when they finished filming Leprechaun 1, right, back in like 91, it took super long to release because Trimark was just like they didn't know how to release theatrically and they didn't know what to do exactly. And then they just went back and forth between this bullshit or something. And so in that time, Mark Jones, he had an idea for like Leprechaun 2. But meanwhile, as he was waiting for the release of Leprechaun 1, he wrote the script for his other horror film, Rumpelstiltskin. That's a real movie, by the way.
Oh.
And so he finished the script by the time the first Leprechaun came out, and he was like, actually, I don't want to work on Leprechaun 2. And so it ended up just being like, now I'm just going to hand over the franchise to the studio, whatever. But the original script he had planned was that Jennifer Aniston would come back and that the Leprechaun would seek revenge for her. And they offered Jennifer Aniston like $25,000. But this was around her time when she was starting to focus on the show Friends. and so
She
that
started
ended
to
up
grow
great.
more as an actor, so I guess that's why. Also,
Yeah,
I thought an idea for a sequel would be like the kid from the first movie, like now growing up and then coming back to kill the leprechaun or something. That's like an idea for a sequel that
yeah.
I've had.
Due to this, they also had another plan where they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna shoot Leprechaun 2 and 3 back to back with like the same characters," and I guess that ended up just getting decimated because of the theatrical
So
box
they
office
rebooted
bomb
the
it was.
universe multiple times when every movie now
And
has
so-
a
and
completely
so-
different cast.
And so now the confirmed canon all of a sudden is just, oh yeah, it's just a different Leprechaun each time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they're
well, you
all
know,
played by
it's
Warwick
okay because
Davis.
it's okay because they finally made a sequel that sort of connects some things from the first one all the way into 2018.
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah,
I'm
okay.
interested in watching that
Yeah.
one then.
No, we got it
Xander hasn't
eventually.
even seen Leprechaun Returns, which is interesting.
Yeah, the thing is, I just hate Origins, so I just stopped. I just
Okay,
stopped.
fair.
Yeah.
But hey,
fair
we're
enough.
getting
Lucky
ahead
for
of
you,
ourselves with
Returns is
that.
one of the better ones. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. I guess that. Anyways, yeah. The characters are very like. I thought the main girl and the boyfriend were pretty unlikable most of the time. I thought they were kind of.
Oh yeah,
annoying.
don't worry. In the original script, the love triangle is gonna be more prominent.
Oh, ugh.
It
Man,
would have been terrible.
Okay,
that would have made the
been
movie
annoying.
even less fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a step down from the first movie. I'll give it, but it's not. I mean, I guess Warwick Davis is still having a blast, and it's not. And it's weird. It's stupid, but I don't know. I didn't despise it. I guess it's just
This
bad.
one is less
Sucks,
notable
but
to me, besides the fact that the sequel was made without the original director, and they did have a couple other drafts I could talk about. And the only other really notable thing is just that, Mark Jones left to work on Rumpelstiltskin, and he quote unquote said, just go and run with it with like Leprechaun 2. But another thing that happened is just, production just temporarily shut down due to like a series of bird attacks, and then that's it. Really, there's not really anything notable about this one particularly, and a lot of the factoids about it is just there was a script. I remember, where was this? There was 2 treatments by Turi Mayer and Al Septine. They written it in '93, and it was that had Leprechaun living in an oak tree instead of a patch of 4-leaf clovers.
Okay.
And 4 drunk teenagers would approach the tree, celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and walk away from a park. They would pick them one by one, freeing the leprechaun who steps in and says, like, your luck has ran out, the tagline, scaring them away. And it's like, pot o' gold. And there's like a carnival poster that reads that. It just kept going with this whole carnival thing. So yeah, it was originally going to be a carnival movie. Which I don't know if that would have worked out.
yeah. You seem to know a lot about the Leprechaun lore.
See, this is why we had you on. I assumed you'd have a lot of notes on this
Yeah,
random
it's
shit.
pretty fitting. And like you said, this movie is incredibly horny and makes me incredibly uncomfortable at times with how weirdly horny the leprechaun is, especially compared to the last one.
Don't you worry. In the original script, they focus on a 14-year-old who gets drunk and abuses a girl named... Yeah, a 14-year-old who gets drunk and abuses a girl named Margaret and their son to try to get...
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what now?
And the Margaret and the son want to get away when they their name is Margaret, and they like try to dream away for their career, and that's the whole thing. And their plan is to steal $10,000 worth of gold coins as they flee with Jackie's homeless 14-year-old girlfriend, Alex. So yeah,
Okay, that sounds horrible. I'm glad we didn't get that.
This is
Really
already
weird.
like one of the weaker leprechauns. That sounds infinitely worse somehow. Like,
dude, it's gonna be like a heist. It's
A
gonna be a
heist
fucking
movie with the leprechaun.
like a heist carnival movie. It wouldn't have worked at all. Oh god.
Wow.
Okay.
How did they
Actually-
kill the leprechaun at the end of this? I forgot.
I think like they
Oh no, I remember this. Okay, so they have like the coin. They do something with the coin. It's a chocolate coin, and he lures him in with the chocolate coin. Even though like the leprechaun can sense whether it's gold or not. That makes no sense. So
Yeah.
there's even worse connotation there. But yeah, there is actually. Let me send this. What was it? But the thing is, I don't know. 2's ending is just very unmemorable.
yeah, like
to
the
me.
part where the leprechaun like the
I've
part
seen
where
this
the
movie. Yeah, I've seen this movie 3 times. I don't remember what happened.
But yeah, okay, in chat, there's the plot description you can read later. But for like the
Alright.
old scripts, It was really weird,
Alright.
but we won't get into that. We won't.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to talk about more. But the movie, like the part where the leprechaun plays Mario Kart and it tries to run over the
that's-
team.
Oh yeah,
leader.
that scene's
It's
great.
a
Don't
classic
cartoon.
scene.
Classic scene. Classic.
Classic.
Yeah.
He could also control skeletons. Remember that when he was able to
Oh yeah.
do
Yeah, he
that?
could
in
have. He could have made a skeleton army like an army of darkness, but I guess not.
They wouldn't have the budget for that.
Yeah, they wouldn't have the budget for that. That would have been epic if they did.
Yeah. It's a very weird movie.
Despite being the highest budget Leprechaun movie, it feels like the most secluded. Oddly enough, it feels just as secluded as the first one. But even then, the first one you get to like go to the hospital, go to like the pawn shop. There's like more locations.
Yeah.
Here it's just like okay, they go to a go kart, they go to a bar. That's
Yeah, there's
it.
also a scene where the
they go
leprechaun
cave.
kills the bartender after he like gets mad at him for not paying.
Yeah.
He gets mad because he
Yeah.
feels like he's asking him for his gold, so he decides to kill him.
Do you remember all the little dudes dressed as leprechauns? Because I think it was like St.
forgot to
Patrick's
mention.
Day.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Like they go to this club where everyone's dressed as a leprechaun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super weird.
I'm sorry, I'm like losing my memory here.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that happen. Kind of.
There's
don't-
they're for sure. No, not really.
no.
So like, there's a love triangle for like a bit. They cut that off, and then they just go to a bar. They try to like figure out this shit for like a while. Not really much happens. This is why like 2's not like great. I gave it a heart, but also at the same time, like I would not rewatch this one. The ones I would rewatch are 1 to 3, 4, and like Back to the Hood. Like those
Fair.
are the ones that are like rewatchable for me. 2 and like the first In the Hood, they're kind of boring to me. So
I think thing is I like all the kill stuff I find more entertaining than 1, but the actual plot I care about way less. Like the
Plot is just stupid and incredibly
It's a
dumb
leprechaun,
and
like-
weird. And
romance plot. No, I can't.
there's
Yeah.
so much romance and horny things going on in this movie. It's
to be
really
fair,
weird.
spoiler for next discussion, which we'll get to in like. I think we've said everything, right?
I
I don't have
think
Yeah.
too
it's
much else to
everything.
say.
There's not much to say about this one particularly.
Yeah.
Not even like any background information about it. Like, okay.
Okay.
And I guess so. Same with like the. I don't know. The first 2 isn't anything that I could say much about, but there's still like some really weird and funny moments, just down to just Warwick Davis as the titular leprechaun being, having fun. He's having fun. He's having fun.
Yeah, the next one is way more interesting
Yeah,
to
the
me.
3rd and 4th are when things get weird.
Oh, I love those.
I mean, dude, I'd argue 2 is pretty fucking weird, but like,
Yeah.
Like, 2 is weird, but not in like a joyous sense. It's just really weird.
Uh,
Like,
2's
okay,
like the uncomfortable leprechaun.
he's like,
The one in the
okay,
corner.
they're like the horny cousin that you don't like bringing over.
That's true.
No, they're like,
very
they're
interesting
like the
description.
or they're like the sleazy uncle that can never find a wife. They're like that.
Oh my gosh.
All right,
sad.
I think I'm ready for the. Are we ready for the ratings?
Yeah.
I would go a 3 out of 10 on this one because I don't think I can put this on the same level as Leprechaun 1. No,
I'd
I
give
think
it-
it's weird.
I'd give
I
it.
find it entertaining, but I don't know.
I'd give
3.
it like a 4 or 3 out of 10.
I gave it a 5 initially, but like that's because I was just being nice. Like unironically, it's like a 30, like 4,
Still
35.
funny.
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
funny, but like I didn't give it
Yeah.
a heart. Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure I still have this at a 4. I could be talked down to a 3 easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about cutting it to a
The
3.
Leprechaun 2 is like the black sheep of the franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Wow.
they're like the family member you don't talk about.
Yeah. Even
Or
though it's not
weeds.
even the worst one we're gonna talk about.
Oh,
but-
some argue that it's like 2's the best one when it is not.
No.
No,
This is
no.
This is
No.
objectively the least fun of the first
Objectively.
4 leprechauns.
It's the one. It's the one that shows the most pedophilia and horny. Like
I think the
endeavors
first one
so
out of the
far.
ones I've seen so far is easily the best one, and I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up staying that
I
way.
don't think Leprechaun 1 is gonna get topped, honestly.
Okay, Leprechaun
No,
1
no.
objectively and subjectively isn't the best one. It is not. It never will be.
What do you
Alright, well, I guess since we
mean?
all set our ratings, let's move on to Leprechaun 3.
All right, I guess we'll do that.
Yeah, let's jump into
Oh,
it.
my favorite one.
Now we're in the
One.
VHS
Oh, yeah.
world.
Yeah, this is
This
when
is,
things get
Yeah,
this is
okay.
when things get a
This
little
is Warwick Davis's favorite one.
cuckoo.
Okay,
Oh, really?
so the thing about this one, it is Warwick Davis's favorite one to film,
Really?
and
Oh.
you can tell.
Yeah, I can see that. This is like I don't want to say the jumping the shark moment since all these are stupid. This is when they're like, all right, a leprechaun's going to be in Vegas now? Sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah, we can do that.
these scripts for the script for 3, I'm pretty sure was made before they realized they had to make it VHS. But due to the poor box
That
office
makes
sales,
sense, actually, since it's trying to be
they had
bigger.
to like adjust to it. Because so this is the first direct-to-video sequel, but and it's meant to take place in Vegas. But out of the because the thing is about this one, it was quickly made because the filming took 14 days. 14 days. That's it. And
Wow.
out of those 14 days, there was only one day they were in Vegas, and most of the footage in Vegas, like in actual Vegas, they did not get a permit for it. So yeah, that's a bit
Yeah,
weird.
so all right, so in the last movie, the leprechaun's weakness was metal, like we stated. The first one, it was a clover, and this, it's just some medallion thing that they don't
Yeah.
ever really explain what it's from, what it's about. It's
then-
like,
Because the beginning of this movie, this weird dude who's like missing a couple of limbs or something.
and he has
walks
like a
into pawn
fucking
shop
eye
and
patch. Yeah.
he has a
With, like,
leprechaun
this
statue that has a
statue.
medallion on it, and
Yeah.
he sells it and he runs off and never to be seen again.
never
We'll
comes back
we'll
again.
never
They
see that
never
guy.
explained
No,
who that guy was.
Okay, the setup is super weird to me because the guy could have easily just buried it with the necklace in mind.
Or just
on there.
destroyed it.
You could have just destroyed it.
Burned it
Well-
or something? I don't know. It's a statue.
Or
You
done
could probably do
anything.
something
But,
like that
okay,
with it.
but even if we were to forgive this specific decision, what's weirder is he doesn't tell the guy what exactly happens when you take off the necklace. He's super vague. He's in a rush. I get that. But also, you could quickly say, "Oh yeah, don't take off the necklace. The leprechaun will get out."
Yeah, the
of it."
leprechaun's gonna chase him out of town.
It's not a very hard
If you
thing
believe
for him
it,
to
though.
articulate.
You could have
you know,
easily
something.
fixed it because, like,
Would
It
the
doesn't
pawn
really-
shop guy believe it though?
because because either way, the pawn shop guy would not believe it, and plus, he's like a greedy guy. You can establish that.
Well,
'cause
they
he
could have
works-
had him like try to explain it. They
Yeah.
couldn't have just
Yeah,
not
that's
tried
fair.
at all.
Yeah, they could have just tried to explain it at least. That's my argument at least. It's just like you could have tried instead of just not trying and just
Yeah,
making it
definitely.
happen.
Yeah.
Very
Anyways,
dumb setup. For
the
a very
plot
dumb
of this movie is also weird. So it's about this kid who's just on the road, and then
Yeah.
then he like drives this girl to work at this casino, and then like the girl lets her in the casino, I guess, even though they just met. I guess even though they talk to each other like they've known each other for like years, and they're like they talk to each other like they're best friends or something.
They-
It's so
they met,
weird.
like-
They
Yeah,
the leprechaun one thing again.
Yeah, except probably
Same
worse
thing.
this time around.
Yeah, because the actors are worse.
Yeah, the acting is also bad in this movie.
Yeah, what
And-
was the girl? Yeah, the acting, that's particularly bad because I remember, like the main girl, what was her name? Lee Armstrong. This was her last role. This was her last acting role before she gave up acting. Sadly enough, and
Oh.
she was like, and apparently, okay, I remember this. So I was like looking through my notes. I swear to God, there's like this one quote about how like it was foreshadowed that she would be like fired, or just like yeah. See, Liam Armstrong quit acting after the film, but coincidentally enough, when Mitch tells Tammy in the movie that she's fired and will never get a job in the show business again, the same thing happened in real life, technically. So it does connect. It does
Alright.
connect.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's like a
fact.
coincidence. It's a coincidence that Lee Armstrong was so bad at acting that she quit after this. While also in the movie, they point out, "Oh, you're a terrible like worker." You've been
Yeah,
fired."
according to Letterboxd, she was in this movie, and she was in the classic "Follow the Bird." Follow that bird.
Follow that bird.
Yeah.
Oh, the
yo.
bird. Yeah.
Follow that
It's a
bird.
better movie.
Yeah, but another thing
Probably
about
is.
the other actor in the movie, the other actor, the main kid, the Mitch, he was a nice
God.
guy, right? He had a good acting. Well, no, not good acting, but it was like fine.
No.
And then he realized as he like thought about it, like on set, he was like, actually, I want to be a writer. And so I looked through his writing credits, and he's wrote Kong Skull Island, Flight, Real Steel, and like Power Rangers for some reason.
Wow.
Yeah, even made
Okay
that-
then.
Yeah. So, and he had a pretty successful writing career, actually, more than acting. So, I guess it ended up working out for him after the movie.
Okay,
So.
I'm back. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Anyways, back to discussion. So what was I gonna say? So this movie's in Vegas, I guess, because I guess the
Vaguely.
Leprechaun's now spreading his curse to Vegas, and his main goal is to find his last shilling, who was stolen by this kid while he was like in this pawn shop because he needed to pawn something because of this guy. The kid literally gambled his like tuition given from his parents. Like, wow.
The reader preciously picks up that specific coin and not like anything else.
Yeah,
Just
and
that
apparently
coin.
now the Leprechaun's gold can now like make wishes, which every Leprechaun has different powers, and this one has its gold like be able to
Wishes
make wishes.
and like werewolf powers. So that's fun.
Yeah. I do want to say, like, there's this whole animated video talking about leprechauns that they bring up in the pawn shop, and I'm like, this is so weirdly detailed. Like, why would anybody know this? And
I don't know.
like, this is so accurate to the truth, and like, this leprechaun is not like a harmless little fairy dude. No, he's like a menace to society.
It's
Also, Zander.
Yeah.
Zander, how could this be your favorite leprechaun? It literally has an Elvis impersonator.
Well, the thing is,
it does.
it is the best use of Elvis, I think.
No, this film is better than the Elvis movie. I mentioned it.
Oh no, shit, Sherlock.
It is. It actually is. I'd say that it's much more competent from an editing perspective. I'll give it that.
Oh yeah, no, the editing is smooth. It's crisp. It works fine enough. Unlike Elvis, where there's a cut every 2 seconds and they do multi-shot takes.
That was a nightmare of an experience.
The movie's a nightmare, and I've seen it 3 times.
How I can barely sit through it the first time. Anyways, yeah,
I do love how the leprechaun always talks about his shilling in this movie.
I'm shilling.
With all this killing, I've lost me shilling.
I love his voice. That's something I should have mentioned. I love his like a campy voice that fits a leprechaun.
Yeah, and he wants, and like sometimes he does a rhyme, but most of the time he like rhymes his words.
He
really
rhymes
late.
way too. He rhymes like the most in this movie. Like in the he rhymes sometimes in the other two, but like they crimp it up to the max. They crank it up to the max in this movie. Like every line he says, he rhymes. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, every single line is always a rhyme.
But yeah, also I love this scene where the leprechaun is just wandering around in Vegas and no one pays attention to him. And like he even like just bets at the craps table, and then like the guys who are like the debt collectors to the guy who like owns the casino, like they like don't like question like who he is and why he's dressed up like that. They just like hey, what are you doing here? Why are you so good at betting? That was such a weird scene. And then they just make one of the guys just barf out a bunch of coins, and then later when we see him again, they don't even talk about how he was just barfing out a bunch of coins. Like they completely gloss over that. That was so weird. Like
so
what?
That's just a thing that happens. It's
It just happens. Like that happens
common
every
Vegas
day.
thing. Am I
It
right?
kind of
Andrew?
happens. Yeah, it kind of happens.
People
all the
barf
time.
out coins all the time. It's a completely normal thing.
My
Speaking
sink
of
is
common
full of
Vegas
coins.
things, I was commenting on it last night, but there's like a slot machine in the hospital when they go to.
Yeah,
it. And I
no,
was like, why is
as-
that there?
Okay, I'm gonna reveal this. Yeah, I live in Las Vegas, but as someone who lives in Las Vegas, as a matter of fact, we do not have slot machines in our hospitals. Strange, I know.
Oh,
Strange.
oh yeah. I also like the scene where they take the kid to the hospital, because basically the plot is that when he gets bitten by the leprechaun, he starts to turn into one, which is something
This is
that
a
apparently
potato
can happen
person.
now.
The classic potato scene where he's just like, I want to eat all my potatoes.
Yeah,
want
I don't know much
salad,
about leprechaun
potato.
mythology, so I actually did not know leprechauns loved potatoes. So that's a whole
I think
thing.
it's just because he's Irish.
He's just
That's
Irish.
the
Oh,
only
okay.
reason.
He's
He's
like,
just Irish.
It's like, I'm becoming an Irishman. Oh no.
He's becoming the Martin Scorsese movie.
I'm becoming the Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah,
oh
he
no.
even starts rhyming.
Crazy.
He even starts rhyming.
This is the most leprechaun rhymes out of all of them.
Yeah,
Really,
Yes.
that's a common trend.
Cut off your nose and I'll hack off your toes.
Well, what about
So
this
good.
iconic rhyme for pulling this trick? I'll chop off your dick. That was so
I love
funny.
it.
It's so
Love it
good.
so much.
Comedy gold, baby. Comedy gold.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I loved it. It's such a and also so the most of the plot is just like these people in the casino just stealing this wishing coin. Like one person just uses it to make themselves
like it.
the best magician. And like,
Yeah, that's such a vague term. Like,
it's a very vague term, and it ends up coming true. And then like
there's a lot of gray area in Greatest Magician.
And then there's this other girl who works there who tries to make herself look more attractive in very uncomfortable scenes. And then she has the weirdest death, one of the weirdest deaths I've seen in a horror movie. That you guys know.
Okay,
you guys
can
know
we
the scene.
explain? Let's explain the inflation.
We need to acknowledge the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
About the famous inflation scene.
Okay, so we all watched Leprechaun 3 in VC for some reason.
I mean, I watched
Yeah.
like that clip in VC. Like I
But
saw
yeah,
the whole movie by myself. But yeah,
This is like the 5th time I've seen this, but I just like showing people this specific scene a lot.
it's a
'Cause
very
every time, everyone always reacts in such a strange way. Where they're like, "What? Wait, what's going on?"
And
then
the
the
entire
es-
time I
escalate.
just said what?
Yeah, no, you did. You did.
didn't feel like a real movie.
So okay,
feel
so
like a
let's
real
let's
story.
okay, let's
We
get
have
this
to
set up.
have the best line.
Okay, so the lady, she's like, she shows off that the fact she has a wishing coin. And she's like, I'm beautiful now, and like, why show that off first of all? But like, it doesn't matter. And then it's like, the magician takes it, to do the greatest magician thing later. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. And so the lady, she's gawking at herself. She's looking at herself. It's like, wow, I look beautiful. And then the leprechaun just flies in, just no reason, and he's like, "Yeah, hey, you look kind of fat." And it's like, okay, where are we going with this? And then we see like the butt just gets bigger, and then the boobs get bigger, and then her lips get bigger.
Freakishly bigger. She becomes this monster. There's this awful like swishing sound effect.
And then she like tries
can't
to
even get out
exit
the door. But then
like
her
tries to
butt's too
exit
big,
through the door, and
it's
the butt is too big.
terrifying. Then
And the
she
butt doesn't
fucking
even-
explodes, and then
Yeah,
there's
the
like
butt-
cement everywhere for some reason, and then like
The
the leopard he pulled
butt
out
is-
an umbrella.
The weird thing about the butt is it looks like they just put 2 balloons in there, but it
Yeah.
doesn't even look like
That had to be it.
Or just-
it doesn't even look like circular balloons. It looks like rectangular balloons. They're
Yeah.
just-
yeah.
What a lovely lass. I had to blow up
Honestly-
your ass.
I don't know if the last 4 will outdo it, but that's like the most baffling thing in any of these.
Yeah, that was
Leprechaun films to
fucking
me.
insane.
Fucking
That just like that just probed me. And then you have the magician scene.
and
with
then
his
it's
eyes.
still the last touch of it is just he just has an umbrella ready to just for the
Oh,
just
yeah.
whole explosion to just splatter
He just,
all
like,
over the place.
Looks like rain.
Yeah,
it's like the leprechaun was prepared.
Just like
he
rain.
was prepared
Just
for
like
the
rain.
epic explosion. Yeah,
It's like just like rain. And it's like, oh my god, this is great.
yeah.
That's obviously one of the best kills in the franchise.
Then there's this other
wait.
terrifying kill when this girl comes out of the TV, and there's a very graphic scene with the character of Mitch who runs the casino, and then the leprechaun
dear.
somehow makes the girl
Oh,
just
God.
come out of the TV, and she's like naked, and then the sex scene goes on for way too long, like concerningly long. Like what?
No,
is the leprechaun getting something out of this?
Okay, the lap dance is oddly like awkward. Like the way she
Very.
just like moves around, it's like she's like it looks like she's looking at the director like, what the fuck am I doing? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, there's
here?
also like the other scene before that when like the main girl character comes out with like he wishes that she would fall in love with him, and then with the Mitch guy who owns the casino, like I said, and then there's this very awkward scene with such an awkward tone where she slowly takes her clothes off, and then when someone else steals the coin, it just like the wish just stops, I guess, since for
No,
some
but
reason.
that doesn't make sense for me because okay, the magician takes from like the lady who explodes, right?
Yeah.
Then why doesn't that like counter her wish? Why
Yeah,
didn't that
exactly.
happen?
Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense, you know? And then like she just thinks that she was being sexually harassed by her boss because
Yeah, she's like, no, it's the way she acts, she's terrible at acting. Lee Armstrong is terrible in the scene. She's like, what the heck? What am I doing here? And then she starts like crying. She starts crying suddenly. She's like, oh.
Yeah, and then she goes back
Oh.
to the main boyfriend character. I don't know what his name is Scott, and the girl's name is Tammy. Okay, that'll be easy. All right,
Okay,
so
okay.
she goes to Scott, I guess, and then like
Yeah.
I don't know, and she acts like they're like best friends, even though they've talked like twice in the
Once.
movie. They don't talk like they talk like they're best friends or something, but they're not. They only have like 2 conversations before then. Like for some reason, she like really cares about like him betting so much at the casino. Like when he's like on a streak earlier, when he like wishes he was like on a winning streak at the casino, I guess. And then like I don't know, he tries to protect her, and then they come back and Mitch just dies after the sex scene, which for some reason like the leprechaun is able to turn like this TV girl that just comes out of the TV and it's like some robot now.
Yeah,
And
you think you could have used that in any other opportunity? It's not even like an illusion. It's just a real thing. Just like, oh yeah, it's just a robot girl. And the funniest part to me is someone had to make that animatronic, and they had to make those fake boobs as well. Like,
It was very
Yeah.
strange, very strange. Anyway,
The leprechaun himself shows
Yeah,
up on the TV, and
then like there's commercials that
Yeah,
he
and it's
shows
like a
up-
Sick,
It's
stub
like-
your toe. Call this lawyer. I'll fix your woe.
it's like a
course, 'cause he
Saul,
just won't stop his rhyme.
It's like a Saul Goodman esque like commercials just suddenly appear on the TV, and it says his name Mitch, and it's like, whoa, is there someone gonna say my name on TV? And it's like, oh
Yeah,
my
I don't know
God.
why he's doing that. Like, I don't know what is
It's
with the
funny.
weird ass ways he chooses to kill people. Like,
I think he just enjoys himself.
is
Leprechaun
he getting
takes
some
pride in
mileage
it.
out of seducing this like grown man with this like TV girl animatronic thing?
He
Like,
just
what
likes
is he?
fucking people. That's
I don't.
pretty
What sick mileage is he
Um,
getting out of doing these incredible kills?
I mean, what does he really do when he's not doing this? He's probably really bored.
Yeah,
Let's be
yeah.
honest.
He probably plans out this elaborate shit ahead of time because he only does this every once in a while.
Yeah, they
He's
never
like, "Alright, I'm gonna
explain
do this."
anything about this leprechaun other than apparently, like, he's scared of the medallion for some reason, and his coins, for some reason, like, can do wishes this time, because every leprechaun has different powers and such.
Yeah, his power lies in his gold.
Exactly. And then this, yeah, and the way they kill him is just by burning his gold. And apparently that
Just
works.
sets him on fire, and he just like flies away.
It's so funny. That's like, what is it? He's just on fire. That's how they kill him. They just, yeah. And also the leprechaun,
Probably
like,
easy compared to all
like-
the other times they've killed them.
yeah. And also
The
leprechaun,
He's
go on.
burned alive, I guess. Alright.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also the leprechaun gives the Scott guy temptation to join his side because he's becoming a werewolf leprechaun. A werprechaun. Yeah, he's just turning. Honestly, one thing I kind of wish happened is that the Scott guy actually turned into like a full leprechaun and looked just like him. And then we had like a 1v1 scene when they just beat the shit out of each other as leprechauns, like it's a fist fight. That would have been hilarious.
It would have done.
I mean, it's still a
Couldn't
funny
watch
movie, but you know that would have made it even funnier. That would have been
Yeah, but,
that would have been
you know,
hilarious.
for a direct-to-video movie, it already has like pretty impressive other like effects and stuff.
You know, it's weird, honestly. I couldn't. Okay, well, some stuff looks kind of shit, but I couldn't tell the effects downgrade that much compared to.
Yeah,
each of
no,
it.
they work around it very well because I think it's the same VFX team as like the other two, so there's like a consistent quality in terms of that. By the way, the website for those VFX artists, the website has not been updated since like 2011. I
Oh,
checked;
wow.
it looks very outdated. But yeah, like the VFX team, they did a really good job despite a lot of the cutback they got due to the VHS release and all. And I just appreciate that movie just for trying their best in a circumstance like this. Like they clearly wanted to do so much more with this, but like, you know, for a director like this, he managed to do it well. Brian Trenchard Smith, he did good. He did a great
Yeah,
job.
I also think this
Yeah,
is
very much Delta
this film also has the leprechaun flip people off because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just
Oh,
something he
great.
likes to do now. He just likes to just like
Just a funny visual.
This
Yeah.
tiny little man flipping people off. But
Yeah, this movie has a really weird job. It is a movie.
Yeah,
It's
this
a
is
movie.
objectively the funniest Leprechaun.
Oh no,
really?
that's the funniest one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what
This
about the
is
next
far.
one?
All four, the beginning's like a riot, and then the
Okay.
rest of it's like
It's a
sometimes.
whole thing.
Listen,
Alright,
Leprechaun 4 is just a weird
We'll
movie. but
cover it.
we'll cover it in a
cover
couple
it, we'll
minutes.
cover
I think we've said most of the stuff I think we needed to say
Yeah,
about this
okay.
one.
But yeah,
Uh,
Brian Trenchard Smith, the director, he's not like there's not notable anything about him.
Ryan.
Yeah.
I directed these movies.
Ow.
Yeah,
What a
Brian
twist.
Trenchard. Yeah, Brian Trenchard Smith. He's known for B movies, so this is like the perfect thing for him.
Okay, so see, this makes sense.
And he's
Like,
also
okay.
he also is associated with this like channel that like reviews movies. So for some reason, I found this video where he reviews RRR. Apparently,
What?
yeah, he reviews
Whoa.
RRR. He's like known in the B movie industry as like this like elusive like genius or something, and he's like well known for being like a film historian as well. And he's made commentaries for movies like Bambi and After Hours
Ah.
for some reason. And for
I can't imagine
Python.
the director of Leprechaun 3 and 4 doing like commentary on like good movies. That doesn't.
I'm looking at his filmography right now. He has also made amazing films such as Frog Dreaming and Aztec Rex.
and Dead End
Wow.
Driving or
Don't
Night
forget
of the
the man
Demons
from
2.
Hong Kong.
Or
Yeah.
Oh,
Stunt
yeah, my
Rock,
favorite.
or
Too.
Stunt Rock, or Night of Demons 2. All of these.
Yeah, these
classics.
are all like look really good B movies. These look
Okay,
great.
okay. There's a theme here. These are all like 80s, 90s B movies. Okay.
Yeah, they're great.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
Can't wait to watch
director.
Hospitals Don't Burn Down.
Oh yeah,
Do we
That
have,
is
Yeah.
highlight.
do we have
Britannic!
yeah, Britannic.
Yeah, and in general, like we stated, the main girl and boy characters, Scott and Tammy, have
But yeah,
no
let's-
chemistry.
Yeah, but the best part is like the morgue scenes. But another funny part about the morgue scenes is how they were filmed, because they were filmed at the Ambassador Hotel, a historical site where Senator Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated. So
Oh,
no!
that's fun.
Oh.
That's fun. Yeah.
Also, like the Elvis impression the Leprechaun puts on.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
great.
the-
And he does
oh,
like the
the
dance.
Elvis
It's so
camera.
funny. Oh.
Yeah, and I like how the Elvis impersonator doesn't even question him.
No.
He's just
Yeah,
all like,
not at all.
it's just
In
a
this one, like-
costume.
This is a
Like I
normal
mentioned
thing.
with Leprechaun 1, and this one, Leprechaun is just like he just walks around in Vegas and no one
Yeah,
cares.
like I said, yeah, he just walks around in Vegas and even like goes to the craps table and stuff. But
I mean, I
yeah,
appreciate they're consistent with that, but also it's funny. Like,
Yeah.
fucking little guy walking
also
around.
there's the debt collectors who threatened to kill the owner of the casino, and they don't really do much. They just end up dying from the leprechaun.
Oh well.
Oh well, screw that.
That
Yeah,
poor guy.
It happens.
yeah, it happens. Just your average leprechaun movie. That's all.
Yeah, there's such good lines as "I like Indian food, so tasty." It's great. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
And I think, and this is just a really funny movie to me. There's like an original poster, like the one I put in chat. It was
Yeah,
just like
oh, yeah, you showed me this earlier. I wish
cheap.
that was.
I wish that was like a custom poster on Letterboxd or something.
Yeah,
They
but
didn't
nah.
do that.
Put that up sometime. Sounds like a great poster.
Yeah. Overall, I had fun with the leprechaun just fucking around in Vegas.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's definitely something like that. He just wants his last shilling, which he says
But yeah,
way too much
I
in the movie.
I think I
Many
said this
times.
earlier, but another thing about the director, besides he makes speed movies, is he did an interview, right? And he was like,
Huh.
they mentioned like modern movie, like horror movies. He's like, I don't really like modern horror movies. He's like, they're too violent and that like they're too excessive, especially for like children. And he says like, I just don't really like stuff like home invasion movies. They're too violent. And he says he always likes fantastical horror, which explains a lot about this movie.
Okay, that definitely explains how 3 and 4 turned out. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
And another thing is that he says he wants horror that's motivated by character than just gimmicks. He likes a good balance, apparently. And he tried
Really?
and he like
I mean,
tried
these
he
are-
tried analyzing the inflation seat. He said that like, oh, this girl, she's all of us humans, we always tell females to be pretty, and then she's like, oh, but we overinflate it, and it's like about how the concept of beauty and everything, and it's
Very
like,
deep.
what?
Did you
What?
think he
I feel,
actually made a
I
good
feel like he
movie or
came up with that
I
after the
think
fact.
no, I think he genuinely thinks he made a fun but also smart movie. Apparently,
Interesting.
He had to have came up with that analysis of the inflation scene after he made it. I don't think that was his intention going in.
No,
no, that was just his
I
fetish.
don't believe it.
Yeah,
It's
this-
just fetish.
Yeah,
He's
there's
not that
actually a
smart,
lot to
so.
break down about that scene. There was a lot of effort put into it.
There's a lot of
There's a lot of
masterful,
subtlety.
I mean,
masterful,
technically, it was
masterful
the, yeah.
themes and motifs. They fit
I
really
mean-
well together.
I mean, they were good special effects.
Yeah,
I
they were.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, did we say everything we wanted to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to.
I think
That's
we're
a beautiful-
prepared.
I think we all
Oh yeah,
did.
yeah. You, Brian, you were kind of busy in the middle of this discussion.
Yeah.
Do you have anything? You were more quiet than usual throughout this one.
I think I got it all down. At least.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
we're
I
going back. I know we're going back to the first film, but I checked something real quickly. Apparently, Leprechaun won worst film at the Chainsaw Awards for Fangoria.
Ah,
Oh,
that's a settle down.
But oh well.
that bad.
Yeah. But yeah, that just leads into me thinking, oh, everyone thinks these movies are trash, but like, they know that. Like, calm down.
Yeah, but
I
these
don't
don't
think
even have high
anyone-
ratings on IMDb. Everybody knows these are trash, but they have fun with it.
Yeah. We've and it's probably due to like sci-fi re-airings. That's like a prominent thing where it's like it got popular due to their like re-airings of these every like March. But yeah,
Oh,
these
yeah.
movies they're
I
like
imagine these would stick out pretty hard compared to
they're
the normal
cult,
stuff.
they're cult classics, and we all know that they're just kind of trash. But you know, like, does that really matter? They're just fun.
Okay,
movies.
I don't think anyone's gonna bat for Leprechaun in like an objective sense. People just like these movies. And, you know what? That's fair. They're fun.
No, I like these movies from a purely subjective standpoint.
Well, yeah,
It's
but you
fair.
don't like advocate for them as like amazing films. You just think they're funny.
Yeah, they're fun. Fun movies.
Anyways, I'm giving this a 4 out of 10.
I would
Looking
go
back
for.
at it,
I
I think it might be slightly better than the second one.
Yeah.
I think this is definitely better.
Yeah,
than
see,
two.
now you're going on the right
agree.
side, Ruby. You're going on the
There we
right
go.
side. But yeah, my rating is a subjective 68, better than Evil Dead 2. Bye.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm agreed on a 4. Better than 2 because the character writing was like
Better.
slightly
so-
less stupid,
Still
Slightly
bad.
less-
and it's
Still-
not as uncomfortable.
Yeah, not
Probably
as
the character-
not as creepy as
Yeah.
2 with like the sex dungeon.
I guess
you know?
it has a better plot. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense because like the leprechaun actually wants his gold
Well,
again.
it-
Yeah. It's a shilling.
funny that the characters who've known each other.
There'll be another
for,
killing.
like,
I need another
Maybe-
shilling. I know.
Warwick,
funny that
bless
people have
Warwick
known each other
Davis.
for like a day.
I love him. I love him so much.
All right.
What were
Now
you
we
gonna say?
move. Oh, okay.
I was gonna say quickly, it's funny that the characters have known each other for like a day in 3 have
Yeah,
more
I know.
chemistry than the people in Leprechaun
crazy.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
true.
found it-
Yeah,
Yeah.
now we're getting to
We can move on
the.
to
Yeah,
the-
I wouldn't say.
final
I'd say
one.
like the third one, the second one. They at least have more chemistry since they've actually known each other beforehand.
Yeah, they don't
Well,
yeah,
act
there's
like
like
it.
a-
The
there's like
acting
a-
doesn't show
there's-
that at all.
There's
Yeah.
there's just not good acting, which probably doesn't sell it as much as it probably should. But
Yeah.
it's kind of the charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, now we get
Anyway.
down to the ending, of part one at least. This ain't the
This is
ending
the
of
end
the
of
franchise.
Evangelion of Leprechaun.
This is the end of Evangelion of Leprechaun. Yeah.
Leprechaun
Yeah, yeah.
4. Wait. Leprechaun 4 in space.
Oh my
I
God.
love that title. It is so
Literally,
stupid.
like, if
I
you
have
could-
no idea
you
what the
could-
thought process was
You
for that
could just
title,
say-
but I
oh
love
yeah,
it.
okay. No, I want to explain why this movie even exists. So, apparently, so they're pitching a new Leprechaun movie. Since, by the way,
Alright.
Leprechaun 3 highest selling VHS of '95. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nice.
I remember you told me that.
very nice. And so they're like, all right, we need to continue this success train. What should we do? And one guy
In
was
space.
like, they were thinking of just not doing a Leprechaun thing. They were like, all right, why don't we do just an Apollo 11 ripoff? And then some guy on a computer quickly made, I think it was like one of the executives, they made this Photoshop photo of like the Apollo 11 poster with Tom Hanks, but instead of Tom Hanks' face, it was the Leprechaun. And that
Okay.
that specific image, that specific Photoshop image, basically led to the conception of this movie. So you could
is that
say,
why? Is that
Wow.
like what the poster
Beautiful.
is of this movie? That explains
Oh.
like what the flag is all about. That explains it. All right. Yeah. This is Jason X. We've covered that on the podcast before. Well, let's do that. But let's just say
we're the
Leprechaun.
experts on space horror sequels.
Yeah, that's our thing on this podcast now. That and talking
Yeah.
about Mario movie. So yeah, this is this is like that, and it came out before, so that means Jason X ripped this shit off. So
That's true.
how dare they?
Yeah, Jason X is better though.
Yeah, Jason X.
well,
It's better.
Love
I
Kind of
didn't
Fun.
say it's more fun. I said it's better.
okay.
I mean, you
Fine.
could honestly talk me into thinking either of these.
But yeah,
Spoilers, they both suck.
They both
Yes.
suck. But let's talk about the strange plot of
The
Leprechaun 4.
bizarre ass plot. So okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
go
want to
for it.
explain. I want to explain the specific thing. So at the beginning, we're in space, and then we see like a tea party with just the leprechaun and the space princess,
Yeah.
and we're already starting up really weird because
Okay. Weird
first
start.
of all, just leprechaun in space as a concept, okay, and then there's a space princess, okay, and then they start talking about like making a compromise to marriage
So they
and
become
then-
rich, and so Leprechaun can rule the galaxy.
so that he can rule the galaxy that the princess was from.
Like,
And
why
then-
is this a thing that he wanted?
Hey,
Why does he want this? And
yeah,
then
the
there's
gold barely plays into the plot in this movie
and then there's
until the end.
and then there's Earth who are like trying to like I guess have like compromises between like the different galaxies with the princess, but then they go to save the princess. But as they walk in, they shoot down the leprechaun very easily, actually.
Mhm.
And then we see something happen. So the guy, one of the soldiers, he's like, "Okay, I hate this leprechaun, so let me piss on him." And so
It's on his
in the middle of his space, he pulls down a zipper and he starts pissing on the leprechaun. No one reacts to this with such like danger or certainty. They're just like, classic old space cadet. And then they're like, classic old whatever his name was. Aw,
Weirdly
fuck.
played casually.
Frank
I don't
or-
get that.
Jake,
Right.
I don't know.
And then something weirder happens where like the soul of the leprechaun goes up his penis and it,
Oh,
it's amazing. It's amazing. And then they're like, they just
He-
move on.
they
They
move
move
on
on.
like that's a completely normal thing when the leprechaun
There's,
just like
there's, like,
emerges from
okay.
his penis in one
There's
scene.
no okay. There's no like. There wasn't any health concerns. They just didn't care. And then like while they're like partying, they like the girl and the boy. They go out, ready to have a good time, have sex,
I don't know
And
their
then
names. I don't know
out in
anyone's names in
space.
this movie.
I forget. But like, so they go out. They're like, all right, hey, let's have sex out in the middle of space, even though that doesn't make any
With
sense.
space.
They're like, all right, let's go. And then suddenly, as he gets erect, the leprechaun comes out of him, and then he just flies away into this off distance. And then the rest of the movie is basically just a parody of Alien.
Yeah, the
Except
whole
it's-
movie is basically
It
them
is.
just trying to catch the leprechaun while he's
Yeah.
wandering all over the plane, killing people. The plane. Why did I say it's ship? Ship, not plane. What the said plane?
I mean, it does.
Yeah, apparently
Effects
the
in this
ship has
one
like a
are
party.
Absolutely the worst.
Oh yeah.
This one is the worst one.
Also,
one of the worst ones.
Apparently the ship also has like this party room, which I thought was kind of weird.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't have a party room in a ship. I don't know. If it's a big enough ship, I think that's perfectly natural.
Maybe. Oh, still thought it was a bit weird, but I
Oh,
mean, to be
wait,
fair, there's been weirder things in this franchise, so I don't even know what to say anymore.
This
I
is
do wanna
painted by
point out-
Leprechaun standards, but
some of my favorite stuff in this movie is not from the Leprechaun, and those are the guy who plays this
Oh.
dude with the metal thing in his head.
Oh,
that's
His
yeah.
great.
acting is
Oh,
so
God.
over the top and terrible, and it
Oh
makes
my
me laugh
God.
every time
Yeah,
I watch
he
him.
talks like a
Oh
robot.
my
And I mean,
God, he's
sure, he
so-
has like a metal head. I mean, I guess it's kind of revealed that he's like, it kind of reveals at
He's
the
a
end that he's a
cyborg.
real cyborg. Yeah. So like, not a big deal, but so hilariously over the top. Like, there's this scene where the leprechaun like controls him into doing this like dressing up as like a girl and doing this ballerina dance. It is very strange.
This movie is very offensive.
Yeah. The other concept, weirdly enough, the director from the last movie, when he came in to work on this and did the space, before that, he originally thought of a concept where the leprechaun would terrorize the White House.
I want
Yeah,
that. I want that
He
now.
would like terrorize the
That
White
sounds
House
hilarious.
and get into like the White House for no reason other than like something about gold. I don't know.
Mhm.
It would have
Yeah.
been great.
Also, the weird thing is the leprechaun. Since, like you said, the leprechaun wants to marry like the princess of this planet that I forgot the name of, and like
Yeah,
they
nobody
both
knows.
have the plans. They both are planned to kill each other after they get married to get all the fortune,
Yeah.
which I found like
Yeah.
had to be really weird. This is a really
So
weird plot for
morbid,
the
but-
leprechaun movie. Also, you gotta love the scene where the leprechaun fucking kills someone with a lightsaber. Gotta love
Oh, that
all
was
of
great.
that. That was the scene that like sent me. That was the first scene that I was all like, "It's gonna be insane. This movie's gonna be insane."
And he never uses it again.
Yeah, he never
Personally,
uses
I-
it. You think he would use it to kill like other people, but nope.
No, he
I
just
prefer the
kind of
gun
appears-
leprechaun later. The leprechaun
You know these
later,
movies. Okay, the
gun.
way these movies like uses their powers is just like it's like a roulette of them. They're like, all right, here's this one thing. We'll use it once, throw it away, and then move on to the next one. It's like
Man,
really
Oh
stupid.
no, it's like Doctor Strange 2.
Oh,
Oh man. Anyways,
oh, less
These movies are
stupid.
better.
there's
Yeah.
also there's also the this kind of reminds me like of Jason X, as the movie follows just characters roaming around the ship trying to stop the tip killer.
Yeah,
And it's like in space as well, so it's fitting. Like
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and the dude who's the general or something,
yeah. The general.
who's like connected to this metal tube thing.
Yes,
Oh
that
my
he has
God,
to keep
him.
himself alive.
Yeah,
that was
Is
so
that-
weird.
Is my favorite. It's so
my God.
so bad.
It's
And
so
I love it.
the way he talks is like
He just has like this wide-eyed expression at everyone.
yeah, and for some reason the only reason like the plot happens is that like instead of giving the leprechaun the princess, it's like his motivation isn't about gold. He just wants the princess the whole movie. But in this
Yeah,
case,
so he can
have
regrow
the
his
gold.
flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, he wants to regrow his flesh, and apparently this alien girl's blood will help him with that. So like
it's super
and
weird.
not to mention, near the end, when the leprechaun feeds him like the serum, but with a tarantula, it becomes this mutant, nightmarish
Yeah,
tarantula
tarantula and a
monster.
Yeah, and then there's a tarantula thing, and the scorpion is so
Oh,
weird.
it's so gross.
Oh.
It
He
is
becomes this disgusting nightmare
This-
being.
this horrifying thing, and for some reason he starts to like harm the other people on the ship because I guess
Yeah,
like
he just becomes like a mindless monster.
killing machine.
Like, yeah, this is very much a 90s B
Yeah,
movie.
also-
This is
also
definitely a thing that would
another-
happen in that.
Yeah, another funny moment is the scene where the leprechaun enters like the lab and he throws like this metal plate onto like the scientist guy, and then like for some reason his face just flattens somehow.
Oh yeah, I was gonna note
Yeah.
that.
Cartoon.
That's like a
so
fucking
Visual
cartoon
of it.
show. That was so weird. That was the scene was like, what?
It's like,
How-
what are you even watching at this
What
point?
is that? Like how,
It's like-
how? It's like a cartoon. It's like
Okay, just like I said, this is just such a far out place. We're just like just go for it, and they have no retention of anything going on. It's just kind of happening.
yeah.
It's just like it's like there's like a good like walk up towards the stairs, and then suddenly it's just a ladder to space.
Also,
It's
Yeah.
so there's no control. It's
also
just
we
kinda
gotta
love
we gotta
that
talk about
movie.
the amazing.
So much,
Go
and
on.
it's great.
it's so far from reality that you don't really care about anything really going on other than the fact that the leprechaun's there and doing some goofy shit. Like,
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
accept there's like a romance in every movie. It's like is this
Yeah,
but,
nobody cares. We
yeah,
don't
but
have
this
to
one
talk
has
about
something
that.
about the
Not-
sergeant, the
this-
scientist. Who cares?
This one has especially unnotable romance, so we don't even need to get into that.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
forced.
really- The only thing that is interesting about like the main leads is that one of the guys, I forget his name, but his name is Brett Jasmer. They think he looks like Sylvester Stallone, so the director originally planning to do an impression of Stallone throughout the entire movie, and he
Oh,
dropped
wow.
the idea.
That would
And he
be
dropped the
awesome,
idea
though.
because
But
of like legal issues. And this is the guy they think looks like
legal
Sylvester Stallone, which no.
I can
Well,
partially see that.
I can
feel like
see
I
it.
can-
Also,
So
one
I
of,
don't
al-
think it would work for a whole movie.
yeah. Also, one of the sergeants' name is Kowalski, so I just thought of Madagascar, so that was funny.
Wow.
Kowalski status report. That was.
Oh, and you know, we have the iconic climax where the leprechaun turns huge,
becomes
and
the-
it's
this
so
Titan.
clearly just him like wandering around on a green screen.
Yeah,
The
Oh,
visuals
man.
in this movie
Oh,
are
man.
taken to the next level with how terrible they are.
It's lovely.
There's barely, I don't think there's barely any practical effects this time around. It's all the shit. Every scene with the ship looks like a freaking video game cutscene.
Yeah, it does.
But like I don't know, and there's like some awful green screening. Oh, also the Leprechaun's weakness in this movie is space. It's space.
Yeah.
You know,
Although,
first it was the gold.
you know,
First it
the-
was the go on.
The spider creature thing at least looks like, you know,
Yeah.
properly a nightmare thing. Like,
Yeah.
That's fucking
I can
terrifying.
believe
but
that's
I
what
think that was
happened, sure.
intentional.
Yeah, and then we counter with like N64 quality CGI. By the way, the
Oh.
CGI costed like $80,000.
Oh
and
wow,
by the way-
that explains it.
there's that
Here,
one
the higher
scene-
scale these get, the lower budget they get. It
Yeah,
should,
it's
like,
great.
be the opposite.
Okay, but like also there's the one scene where the spider monster dude, he's losing his mind. He's like, "Oh, I want flies," and a fly buzzes in and he eats it. I'm like, "Wait, why is there a fly on the spaceship?
How did
That's
that
true.
How did
This
what?"
is-
Yeah, like,
I did not
yeah,
think
there's,
about
like, no
that. That's
reason for-
weird.
Yeah, there's no reason for the bugs to be there. Yeah, it's just weird.
This is a space.
This is a freaking spaceship. How the hell did the fly get
Shit,
there?
dude.
How is the fly even
I think this
alive?
happened in another space movie. I can't remember what it was.
Silver just cut off for a second.
Oh, sorry.
It's
I think
fine.
this happened in another space movie. I just can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, as soon as they like grow the leprechaun with that random ray thing, as soon as they do, he looks down and they just make a dick joke. Because of course that makes
Yeah,
sense.
of course they
Of
do.
course they do that. Because this is a
Yeah.
leprechaun movie. Of course they're gonna
This
make
one
a dick
is
joke.
usually the most immature of all, like the original four, but I don't
Easily.
care. It makes it more funnier.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
immensely.
Although, I will say, when it's not like the goofy stuff going on, this can get pretty boring.
yeah,
I
no,
don't know. Whenever, whenever
I
you
kind
see
of
humans
sometimes
talking about
agree.
that,
Like
Okay.
I thought that the parts of it, like I
Two,
thought,
okay. 2, I was paying attention, but sort of bored. But in 4, I kind of zoned out sometimes. Like
I kind of agree. It might have been because I was watching this late at night and I was getting tired. But I also just felt like when it isn't these batshit insane stuff that we've been mentioning that is hilarious and the leprechaun isn't on screen, it just gets very slow and boring because nothing is like
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
movie, like we stated, is just them searching for the leprechaun on the ship.
Then
Veronica
searching.
is walking around.
And
and
it's like
whenever the
one
leprechaun-
pipe setting. The characters have nothing going for them.
See,
Yeah.
I know the B movie aesthetic works for Vegas, but for space, you need to have some ambition. But a lot of it is just like stilted. It's just like really boring. There's no elaborateness. It's just
The
like, oh, they're
ambition just
moving
kinda
around.
Yeah.
comes in when the leprechaun does
I'll admit,
stuff.
when this film is funny, it's the funniest in this franchise.
Yes.
To kind of
yes.
makes up for it somewhat.
I agree.
I had a
Okay.
decently funny.
The
It's
highest-
a lot more entertaining than 2.
The highs are higher than 3 or 2, but 3 is more consistently entertaining for me.
Yeah.
That's-
And this is just like the worst written one by far.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
definitely.
yeah, that's the
No,
podcast.
I think I explained a lot of the plot holes in like my review, but like, oh my god, so
It's
much
very,
of this
very
nonsense.
bad. If
Yeah.
we're talking like just plain writing, this is the worst Leprechaun movie. It doesn't get worse
Oh my
than
gosh,
this.
you gotta remember the freaking terrible world building, like the stuff with like this one scene where the alien girl shows that her like breasts, and for some reason that they like
She's
never.
like, it's like my weapon. It's my
It's like,
weapon.
Fades upon them in
It's like, what the-
despair.
It's such a what? It's such a weird scene. They completely gloss over how like
No,
weird it
It's
is.
like, it's like meant to be like
They say
raunchy.
later,
like,
it's like, yeah, when they show you their breasts, that means that you're doomed. You're gonna die. I'm like,
What?
why though?
What? It's
Yeah,
weird.
like,
And it's like such a. They did not. I feel like they just wanted to put some nudity in it, so they just wanted the dumbest
Yeah.
excuse.
Yeah, it was like
to
meant
do
to
It's
be
like
like a
leprechaun
funny joke.
tradition at this
Yeah.
point. You kind of have to.
Yeah.
You kind of
It's-
have
it's
to fit
fu-
in.
Yeah. It's funny how Leprechaun just went from wanting gold and stuff, and now he wants to rule the entire galaxy.
Now
What
that
a
we're- now
freaking
we're-
jump
Yeah,
the
it's very-
shark moment.
Now we're at this conversation. I remember just like an hour ago we were talking about one, and that was like very easy breezy. I talked about like trivia. This is just completely off the walls. It just doesn't matter at all.
And,
Like, yeah, we went from, a pretty standard B movie horror flick, and then it's become like this insane nightmare
Nightmare.
disaster
This
in
just
space.
this pure
And look,
nightmarish experience thing.
I blame all of this on the studio and also just the director is an insane man. I don't get him. He thinks like he makes smarter movies than he thinks he does. It's like, okay, you're a B movie director.
I feel like everyone who was working on this that wasn't him knew that they were making a bad movie, though.
Oh, Brian Trenner Smith, he definitely took it way too seriously. I bet he did.
I don't think anyone can see a movie entitled Leprechaun 4 in space and
it
see
would
what
be
happens. Like, I don't think anyone working on this
Being
movie
in
or
Leprechaun 4 in space was an honor to be cast as the iconic character of Leprechaun, and it was generally an honor to really like embody the character in this amazing plot, these likable characters, and just like such an interesting and unique plot from any other movie I've seen. That's how one of the interviews went.
Warwick Davis deserves an Oscar nomination for it.
Yeah, screw this guy's
That's what I'm
carrying
saying.
these movies. He tries way too hard in all these movies. It's kind of
He is the
strange.
It's the most consistent part of this entire franchise. I love him, so that's why I hate Origins and Returns. Well,
Yeah,
actually, I haven't-
because they
Well,
spoilers, they
Returns,
replaced
there's
him.
good. I promise that there's good stuff there. I promise.
All right,
oh, you promise? Okay, all right.
is it unironic?
Unironic, sort of. I would argue that it's the second best Leprechaun movie, which is
Okay.
funny.
Well,
All right.
well, you know what they said? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, next
Okay.
part because we're almost done this one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Maybe my mind will change. Who knows?
yeah. When we rewatch it. So I mean, I still need to watch it, but still. But yeah, it's such a bizarre concept for a movie that I was shocked it was even made. And the poster is also really weird, which is something I wouldn't really complain about. But like, there's like the polo, there's like the American flag. It's like on the it's like
It just looks like
They
nonsense.
never went to the moon in the movie.
yeah, exactly.
never
So
did.
like what? It's like Jason. I don't know.
Like I said, this is based on Apollo 11, even though it has nothing to do with Apollo 11. It just makes no sense.
I honestly
Plus,
think.
it's less about them even actually being in space, just this one ship that they spend most of the movie in. Except for, like, the very end, I guess.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Like
really?
this film like drags in the middle when they're just like senselessly roaming the
A
ship.
bunch of characters roaming around. So
I
boring.
don't remember a single thing most of the characters did besides of course, the leprechaun and the Dr. Metal machine thing. Also his
Yeah.
like apprentice
Really?
who's a
Okay, the only
scientist who
thing-
he just
okay.
hates. I
The only
thought there
thing
was some
I-
funny moments with
The
too.
only thing I found entertaining for the main cast, besides the scientists in general, was that some of the cast members did not just look like Stallone, but some of them looked like Patrick Bateman to me, and then the other some of them looked like Ray Liotta to me for some reason. Like
Oh no.
some
Mm.
of
I
them
did not
looked
catch
really
that.
weird.
I wish Patrick Bateman was in
Well, now I have to watch it again.
Yeah.
So
It was such a they took the massive they took like such a gigantic, the biggest left turn you could think of when they're trying to make a sequel to the first three, because at
Oh,
least
yes.
the first three were bizarre, but they take it up to the max here. But then again, like I wish the whole movie isn't ironically funny.
sporadically maximalist, because sometimes it's like really boring, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. It's like okay,
Though the
Just, like,
highs
went
of
up and down.
hilarity, of just hilarity in this movie.
such high highs, but also such low lows. Like, it's really boring. Like God.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of it is boring near the middle, and like I said, I don't know if it was just I would be me being tired when I was watching this movie, but yeah, I still
watched
felt
it.
that
I
way in
watched.
some way.
I watched
First
it
thing
at
when I
like
woke
9
up,
o'clock.
but I don't know how much that affected it. I watched this like a couple hours ago.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Brandon was a bit late to this, so he literally finished this right before.
No,
Yeah,
he,
the
literally,
discussion.
he quite literally watched all the movies in like 2 days.
I procrastinated the hardest on anyone about this. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I was
watched
I was
three
ahead of
them
the
last
curve.
night.
I was ahead of the
and
curve.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brad's been a
But
bit
they're all fresh
quiet
in my
over there.
mind, I guess.
What
He's
else?
been quiet all over there.
Yeah, Brian. What else do you have to say? You've been kind of quiet through the last 2
You're like
discussions.
you're like the Ralph of the podcast so far. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Oh no.
That's a whole thing.
Sad.
It's sad.
Well, I got interrupted a couple of times, but
Okay.
yeah, did pretty well on this coverage. Found pretty well. You
Yeah.
guys have anything else you wanna add?
Yeah,
Honestly, no.
not really. I think we've stated everything ironically funny and everything just dumb about how everything is structured and established. Like I said, the lightsaber kill scene was just the scene that sent me and told me this ain't your
It's like, you know what
grandma's
you're in for now.
Leprechaun movie. And like I said, the Leprechaun continues to kill people in weirdly sexual ways, like literally emerging from someone's penis. I'm not joking. That happens. Watch the movie.
That does happen.
That
It's in the
happens
movie.
in the movie. I'm not
The
making
first
it up.
20 minutes. The first 20 minutes of this movie is like some of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
Some
So,
terrible
like,
visual effects, some
I agree.
hilarious,
I agree.
some bad
It's
acting, some just such a gigantic left turn.
Such an
compared to the
awful
first
movie.
three.
Such an awful movie. It's
Terrible. Oh god.
it veers so off course
Yeah.
in terms of like it has nothing to do with luck or leprechauns or anything. I love it to death. It's great.
Yes.
I love it.
You know what? I might actually like this movie a bit more than the luck, which I mentioned. I might actually like this movie a little more than that, because at least this film has a personality.
Well, luck has no
So
person.
all these movies have personality.
Exactly. At
You
least
can
there's-
identify a lot of like the specific vibes to them and what they they have such a particular vibe where you can't forget them ever.
Oh, yeah, I love the vibe of Leprechaun Origins.
Oh no. Oh no.
I mean, maybe that one does have a vibe.
I
just a
did.
bad
I
one.
did
don't know
remember
yet.
it. I do in fact
Yeah.
remember Origins. I just don't like
Anyways,
it. I don't
should we
like
get
it.
to our ratings?
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna go with 2 on this one.
I'm also
I
going with
enjoy
it
it,
too.
but it's fucking awful.
It
I'm
is. It
too.
really is.
I'm a 34 or something. I don't know.
That's a 3.
Yeah, 3 out of 10.
He uses different scores. He uses percentages.
Well,
I'm
actually, he doesn't put the
quirky.
percentage. This is number scores.
The
just,
number score, but like
The
kind of
Zander scale.
percentage. The
Okay.
Zander
The
scale.
Xander scale. The Xander
Yeah.
scale.
The epic
Yeah.
Zander
So we
scale.
call
So
it-
that's it. The best Leprechaun in my eyes is the first one. The
yeah.
ranking so far is 1, 3, 2, and 4.
Yeah.
Personally, I put
agree
3 at the
with that,
top.
yeah.
I put 3 at the top personally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gave what?
biased.
Did you gave Leprechaun 3 like a 60?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I was ranking these by quality, it would go 1, 3, 2, 4. But if I have to rank this enjoyment wise, it would go like 3, 1, 4, and then probably 2. Going
Yeah.
by that.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. This is only part 1. We're gonna continue it maybe next week, probably. I don't know.
Probably.
But yeah, this is part 1 of
Yeah, just you wait. We have
the Leprechaun. We still
quite a
have
bit.
4 left. We have Leprechaun in the Hood, Leprechaun Back to the Hood,
But the
Leprechaun Origins, and Leprechaun Returns. So those
Oh,
are
let's
the-
not-
These
let's
are
not
very
forget-
different beasts.
Let's not forget the scrapped Candyman versus Leprechaun.
Wait,
What, that was
what?
okay?
That was the thing, by the way.
Man, I wish
Oh.
that would have happened. That would have
that
been better
would-
than the Candyman sequels.
Tony, what's his name? The guy who played Candyman in all the movies.
Tony Todd. Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Todd. He, and apparently in an interview in Fangoria, he was like, he remembered hearing the idea, and he was like, I never want to be a part of that. That's a terrible idea. I don't.
Aw.
Aw, it would have been funny.
All my
though.
respect for Tony Todd is gone.
Aw, it's
Well,
quite unfortunate.
yeah. Yeah, it would have been like Freddy versus Jason, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's
Even
exactly why.
better.
No, that's exactly why it was made, because of the fan craze over like Freddy versus Jason. They wanted to
Ah.
capitalize off of
Okay, that
that.
makes sense.
All right.
But it didn't
I would have
happen
liked Freddy versus Jason versus Leprechaun, but
Oh, that would have been
Ooh,
sick.
that
That
would've
would've
been
been
it's
sick.
amazing.
not iconic enough
The
for that.
Leprechaun would have killed them both at like
More
easy.
killers need to go to
For the
space. We
record.
have Jason and the Leprechaun. Now we need more.
Yeah, and
you
for
bet-
the record,
Go on.
Leprechaun sequels are better than Candyman sequels, and you're wrong if you say
Yeah.
I've
otherwise.
not
Yeah.
seen
I know
the
they're probably.
Candyman movies.
I know they're definitely more entertaining.
They're probably more
Given
entertaining.
that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Thank you for watching this episode. We'll be back next time with us 4 once again. finishing off this franchise with the last 4 movies, and
We'll go into the hood, and we'll even go to Origins.
we're going to the hood, then we're going to go back to the hood, and then we're going to go to the Origins, and then we're
Yeah,
going
we're
to
gonna
return.
return again.
Yeah.
We're gonna turn again.
Yeah, that's what's next. The last 4 Leprechaun movies, which
Alright.
yeah.
These ones deviate really hard, so I'm
Yeah, well,
interested.
that is a whole new era of the
We're exiting
LCU.
the golden era of the
Yeah,
Leprechaun.
We're exiting the
Yeah.
golden
The
era.
OG era of the Leprechaun series, and now
I'll
we're
miss Leprechaun 2's incest plot.
Yeah.
concerned.
I know.
There was
I know.
no incest. What are you
I know.
talking
I know there
about?
was. I know.
Yeah, there
I know.
was no incest.
I know there was no incest, but they could
So you're
have.
saying it was metaphorical incest?
I don't think the Leprechaun was related to the girl Xander.
No.
It was never
No,
implied.
I wish. Wow.
Xander, please.
Wow, Xander, come on. This is
Okay.
YouTube. Okay, don't get us
Okay,
demonetized.
we're getting us too far off track. Okay.
All right. Anyways, yeah. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, well.
Bye, everybody.